What's going on, y'all? We got another episode of I'm Standing on It, man. I got some special guests here in the building. We got a couple of old faces and a couple of new faces, man. I want to start off at the top and welcome my boy Fitz Mitchell onto the show for the first time, man. To give his perspective.
What up?
We got Yesenia here for the first time. I want to definitely welcome her.
Hi.
And you know, of course, we got our regulars here, man. We got Reflection. Everybody say what up to 80 West.
What up?
Yeah, and you know, we got Stephanie back in the building, y'all.
Hi.
Word. Hey, so, like I said, man, thank y'all for coming on, man. And I kind of want to just jump into it with y'all, man. And I know we all been seeing what's going on in the news, man. I know it kind of looked like it started in LA and it started moving its way around the country now. I know they got it in Texas, New York, Chicago, Florida. I mean, it's moving. So this whole migrant thing, Donald Trump, the riots, the looting, everything, man, it's starting to go crazy. Also with the ISIS, with deportation, and I think it's more than just deported people saying that they're not legal, they're not citizens. But I think also the problem is how they're going about it. You know what I mean? And I know they can't send out a postcard and like, hey, man, we're gonna be at your house on Monday to pick you up. I know it can't work like that, or they won't be home. So it has to be the element of surprise. But I think the element of surprise is how they going about it, just ripping you away, throwing you in vans, and taking you away from your family. So I kind of want to just jump into it, just get everybody's opinion on that, man. It's an open, we're going to do an open call. People that's commenting, I'll bring y'all on if y'all want to come on, just give your opinion about things. And I actually want to start with Yesenia because I think it's important that, you know, she lives here. She's originally from Mexico. And I just want to give her point of view on what she's seen out there compared to here. And I also want her to compare, you know, where she's from, you know, the Mexican people there versus Mexican people from the United States. Is there a difference? Are they moving differently? And do you agree or disagree with what's going on? So welcome to the show, Yesenia. So how are you today?
Thank you for inviting me.
Yep, no problem. So
what's
going on? What's your opinion on this?
I really do have a lot of mixed emotions about this. It's really sad though, because the way it's going by is nothing positive that's going to come out of this. And that's the bad part because again, people are losing their family. They're being torn all of a sudden. They have a good job here. They're probably more stable here than they would have been in Mexico. And that's the reason why a lot of Hispanics do come here to the United States to have a better life. And now it's ripping what we also say our version of the dream, you know, having that dream of, you know, having something better than what we thought in our country. And that's the bad part. You know, that's how I feel. I felt really upset about this because the way they're going, like you said, it's all wrong.
So let me ask you the way they're going about things. Do you think what suggestion could you give that you think I should go about it?
Well, the thing is, again, they're stereotyping all Hispanics, or not just all Hispanic, all illegal immigrants, because there's been people that do come here and they do criminal stuff, and you're stereotyping all Hispanics, all illegal immigrants like that, and that's not fair because, again, like I said, people come here and they do an effort. They spend a lot of money to come here to leave that to leave that dream that we want to, you know, to have a better place for our families. And if they would just see that they're not all illegal immigrants are criminals and should be sent back. And that's the only thing. I think they need to go ahead and have like those requirements, make it easier for the people that already been here. I mean, if they already been here for years, there's been people that been here most their lives. And for you to just send them back one day back to Mexico when they haven't done anything wrong. Mind you, there are people that have done wrong here and they should be sent back. But you shouldn't punish everybody like that.
Okay.
I agree with what you're saying to an extent. I feel like, because again, most of the Hispanics that I know, they're all hard workers. They all uh, go really hard at work. However, we're adults, and I feel like at some point we have to take accountability for our actions. I understand that they've been here for 4 decades. That's a long time. However, that's a long enough time to get the paperwork done. My question for you is, how do Hispanics that live in Mexico view Americans? Like, what is their perception of how it is here?
Well, I can say, just speaking from family that I have back at home, they're very
Yes.
upset. I mean, we get it. Again, that's in every country. You have to become a citizen to live there. There's
Mhm.
rules, and you gotta pay. And sometimes we maybe we just see it as we're scared or ready to go down there and get legalized, where they could just
Mhm.
say, oh, well, you've been here and all that stuff, we're just going to send you back, because that has always been a fear of
Mhm.
everyone that has crossed the border. Even if they have been here, even if they had the opportunity to get their paperwork, they
Mhm.
just fear to even go in.
Okay, because they think they'll be sent back right away, right?
Correct, yes.
Gotcha. Is that the normal process? Is that what
Well,
they
the
normally
normal
do?
process, yes. I mean, you have to, I mean, there's different ways to become a citizen. There's the requirements. You have to take a test, and to pay for it, it's not cheap either. We
Hmm.
would rather go ahead and spend our money, send it back to our family, than spending on trying to get our paperwork. Yes, we do need it, but
Hmm.
it's not important to us when we already have a job, we're already working, we're already maintaining our kids.
Yeah.
What more do we need?
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
think I think that's part of what she said, to piggyback off what she said though. I kind of think I think that's kind of what a lot of people are tripping off of. I think that's a lot of what the government is tripping on, is that people that are here illegally, and then they're benefiting off of being here, and then they're not putting money back into the economy. They're sending money back to Mexico. So it's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's from a government standpoint, that's part of the reason that they tripping. That's part of the reason that they going about it. I'm not saying it's right, because I disagree with the way they're going about it too. I feel like they're treating everybody like criminals. It's one thing to commit a crime, but it's another thing to actually be a damn criminal. I mean, you know what I mean? And I feel like they treat everybody this the same way. And I think that's the part about it that's tearing the game up. Like you said, you got people getting ripped away from their families, people who've been here their whole life. They got kids with them. They're being detained in front of their children. Children don't know where they're going. So I get it. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like the way that they're going about it ain't cool. I feel that it should be, per case basis. The way that they're, apprehending people, or, taking people in or whatnot. I mean, stripping somebody from their family is devastating. And then in front of kids and stuff, you know what I mean? They're going to be traumatized behind that. So I feel like if if they're not committing any other crime besides being here illegally, I don't feel that they should be getting handled the way that they're getting handled.
Mhm.
I agree. I do
Reflection. What's
agree.
your you've been out here on the West Coast saying what you saying. What do you think about everything?
I interrupt you. Is that a question for?
I said, what do you think about everything that's going on?
It's a question.
Uh-oh, that Wi-Fi boy. Hey, so Sean, you
Yes.
out there in Texas.
Well,
You out there in Texas, Sean. What's going on out there in Texas that y'all been seeing on the news, and like what's some of the conversations you've been actually hearing out there?
I ain't really heard too much or seen too much because I've been busy. But we seen on the news what's going on in California and stuff like that. It's not too much. I don't see like Mexicans having any problems or issues. Oh yes, it is. 'Cause my boy, my mechanic, he can't even come outside. You feel me? So that's a problem. So he can't get no work. You know what I mean? And to feed his family. So I think everybody just staying inside from ISIS being spotted by them and being deported back. But I do say is, who gonna do the work that we ain't gonna do? if you take all these people back,
Exactly.
who's gonna do this work? Because we ain't doing it.
Exactly.
We
It's
ain't
gonna be
doing
a
it, and they
challenge.
ain't doing it. So who gonna do the work that they doing
Right.
that we don't want to do? So
Thank you. Who's
that's
going to do it? It's already affecting a lot in this country for people that people you deport are the people the ones that are doing the hard working jobs right now. And there was talk that allegedly Trump said he wants to pause ICE from not going to farms and basically places where our Hispanics work at, because we're the ones that will go ahead and get those jobs. We're the ones that don't mind taking those jobs, minimum wage, sometimes less, just to go ahead and make some money to feed our family.
Okay. Well, who else do we got on here? Reflection, can you hear us now?
Yep.
All right. So we're gonna get back to you, man. What's your opinion on this?
Right? That's my opinion on that. I feel like the government has always been a bully. They've always used bully tactics to get the job done. And I stand for the renegades. I stand for the Robin Hoods. I always have stood. That's masters of gimmick. But I stand for the renegades. There's always things, and there's some good that's coming out of what's happening.
Okay. I was gonna say the thing was messing up again, the Wi-Fi.
Okay. There is some good that's coming out of it, and showing the government that people are not going to just sit back and lay back and let you sit and do things. There's an eviction notice that has to be properly given to you as a tenant. Those people were tenants how long here? And now they pull up to their home that they don't create memories with their family out of. They see cops and ISIS outside before, and then I believe it's wrong they're doing it. I believe these people need at least a year to gather their faculties and get their situation together. Somebody said that they sending all their money back to Mexico. No, they're not. All that money. So are we going to cut checks for these people? Are we going to give the taxes that they did pay? They're paying taxes here. When they go in these grocery stores, they're paying taxes. Are we going to cut some checks when we sit there and we owe them money? We need to calculate how long they were here, and we need to count. And we need to cut some checks to give them. That's the least we can do because it's wrong. So that's my stand on it.
But
I disagree with you.
But
I heard Eddie saying something back there.
Hey, but
two
see,
wrongs don't make a right.
Here's the thing though. Here's the thing though. You know, I always got to play devil's advocate, man, because I'm looking at everything from the whole spectrum. The taxes that they pay in the stores ain't nothing compared to the taxes that they're not paying for work. You know what I mean? So you gotta look at what's going on. Yeah, they doing labor that below minimum wage. They doing the labor that nobody else get out there in the field is going to do, especially for what they getting paid for. So it's a double-edged sword on both ends. I mean, at the end of the day, when it's time for America to benefit off of the backs of the people that's working their ass off to build this country, the dirty work and the shit the motherfuckers ain't gonna do, it's okay. But when it's time to pull the bully tactics and it's time to start creating new laws and going about things a different way, or something that doesn't benefit them, then that's when they're gonna start pushing the issue a different way. You gotta think about this whole country, man. The nerve and the audacity, right? Like, the only people that's in this country that's not immigrants or not illegal is Native Americans and Black people. I'm just gonna keep it a band. If that's the case, everybody came to this motherfucker illegally. Because who was here?
Yeah.
Think about it. Who was here first? The Native Americans. And then they got the land stole from them. Like, I've really been tripping off this shit the last couple of days. They got the land stole from them, sold to somebody else, and then now the people that's here want to tell everybody else that you got to have the proper identification, proper citizenship to be a part of a country that they stole. I mean, think about that shit, the irony. So that means every other race, culture, whatever nationality is here, it came illegally. Because none of the people from Europe was here. None of the Chinese people was here. None of the Filipino people was here. Nobody was here.
But
Native
but the
Americans.
thing is, but America is not living up to our name. We're not living up to our name. This is a place people dream to come. This is a place people save their life savings and they send their family over here or they send their kids over here because it's going to be better to beat the oppression where they're at. And then they come over here and then we do them dirtier than a lot of the states and countries they came from. With
But
one
see,
nation under God. And then with liberty and justice for all, we need to set the example.
as a
Be
black
done in a
man,
better way, or you're
as
gonna
as
get
a, as a, as a,
chaos.
as a black man, you know it ain't no justice for all, bro. It
Properly.
ain't never been justice for all.
I feel like this. I feel like
Give
we're all
somebody
born
time,
with
a proper
certain
time
traits.
frame to say get the fuck out. You're gonna back from it.
Hold
It's
on.
gonna
I
be
feel like we're all born with certain traits, and we're all born free. Period. We have certain rights. Y'all just there's literally like a system that's operating that has everybody believing that they have to do all these things, but they really don't. The problem is, and this is not anything that I don't have any type of, I don't feel some type of way towards anybody. I'm talking about the system as a whole. If we go to these other countries, we cannot just go in there freely. Okay.
Right.
It's not going to happen. If you guys think that
Right.
deportations are not happening in every other country, you're wrong.
Yeah.
So they have
Yeah.
laws. We respect your laws when we come there. Please respect ours. Now, granted, I understand the process is expensive. It's lengthy. They need to restructure that or do something. And I agree with what he's saying as far as, America's like when they need them, then it's all cool. They need to do something like, I feel like, again, fast tracking that process for them so they can be part of the system and paying into the system. But honestly, no matter how you look at it, it's a shit show. So I understand. And trust me, none of us want to see that either. But what's the alternative? Like, what's another solution that's going to fix all this? There's no other way.
When you say that, Steph, you got, again, piggyback off what you said. You can't go to any other country and do this, right? You have a passport or whatever you have, you go to their country, you already know you go through customs. How long are you here? Why are you here? What's your name, address, email address? And you will be leaving on this particular day. And if you're not gone by that day, they will throw your ass out of there,
Yep.
So if it's like, it doesn't matter if we go to Asia, Russia, it doesn't matter, India, doesn't matter where we go. That's the law and that's their rule.
Yeah.
That's the rule here too, though. You know what I'm saying? It's easier to come here, you know what I mean, than I guess the other places, but what I was going to say, damn, I just lost my train of thought on this, man. Damn.
Well, I want to jump in and say something in regards to the pay. I understand that they're doing hard jobs for lower pay. Again, I told you guys this before. I feel some type of way about that. However, at the same time, if I think about it, they also get free education, Medicaid. They get that food stamp stuff. I mean, I've seen some of them, they get a cell phone to come here. They get a credit card to come here. And right now there's a program that they just launched, what was it, like a week ago? If you self-deport, you get $1,000 bonus just to self-deport, no charges, a free flight home, and they'll even give you a date where you could come back. Make it make sense.
That's a deal.
All of us are paying for this. This shit is not a free ride.
So how do y'all feel then? So how do y'all feel this? You got two things. You had Harris and Biden brought 21 million, we'll just say illegal immigrants, 21 million to the United States. Or was that just, and that was right before the election, a year before the election time? So my understanding, why would you be so mad at Trump when he already told you his last term what his agenda was? He said, I'm going to build a wall. When that didn't really happen, people laughed at him. What happened to that wall, Trump? What happened to that wall you was building?
I think they did it. I think it was in him. I think they did it to get voters.
But hold on. But why isn't the smoke for Harris and Biden for bringing so many people here and you couldn't protect them and now they got to go back? Did you set these people up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it ain't just Mexicans. It's, like I say, Venezuelans, it's Cubans, it's
from
everybody.
Everywhere.
Even some Asians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and then on top of that, just on your scene, that's why I want her on here, because I want her point on this. on the polls, they said it was down there 50-50 that Mexicans voted for Trump.
That's true.
So is it Mexicans that are citizens here? They say, hey, I'm here. I don't give a fuck no more. The hell with everybody else. Or are you citizens now? And then do you have the attitude of that you think you better than now? Is that even a possibility?
I think it's
Like,
the way it happened when
and
they
then-
came in.
Or wait, one more. And then as far as when they said, I know we're going into this on the next portion of this, but I want to lean into it now. When they said about the blacks not help participate, how come like some of the Mexican people now that's fighting, why aren't they calling out Hispanic celebrities? Why aren't they speaking up? For the Puerto Ricans, where's Jennifer Lopez? For the Mexicans, where's George Lopez?
They're
Where's
not speaking
all
up
these
because they
different
work
people?
for
They
the
all
same
hidden
side
right
that's
now.
doing all this. That's
They're
why.
not speaking up.
They're
not
not
even
speaking up
helping.
because they work for the same side. That's what it is.
Now they want
not
white dollar
effective.
and they want to align themselves with white people. And they want to stay
Yep.
looking good in white people's eyes. That's
But
the
I
Yeah,
real.
think that's wrong. I think it's wrong.
their PR
Because if
team,
it's your people, you gotta back your people.
their PR team is telling them to stay out of it. That's why. Their PR team. I think personally, I think it's wrong. As a black
Yes.
man, I think it's wrong. I'm 53 years old, and my personal opinion, I'm on the side of I'm not on the side of the root and the rightness, but I'm on the side of proper aggression towards what ICE is doing. I'm on that side for just cause. I think it's wrong. I think those people need more time to gather their situation, get their situation right before we just tell them to leave.
But
At least,
if you do it that way,
at least,
you know what I'm saying?
at least
Because
a
I feel like they
year.
knew it was
At least a
coming.
year.
how can you give a notice? Then people just disappear. Then you ain't gonna find if you give a notice. Like if you
It's only so long you
being
go.
a citizen, and I don't want to compare criminal versus non-criminal activity, but I'm just trying to get an example. Like if you went and robbed a bank, the police not gonna give you a notice. Hey man, I'll be there on Monday to come get you. You're gonna be gone.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Who wants to leave?
They can't. You can't. I mean,
If me and you got
it's
a
only
warrant,
so many people can hide. You see,
but if
they
me
have
and you
these.
have a
They have.
warrant, we can have a warrant just for a speeding ticket. Okay, so that's not criminal, but just a speeding ticket. They can still take us to jail. We can't give our family no notice that, hey, or call my job, hey, I can't make it tomorrow because the police taking me to jail. We going to jail. There ain't no notice.
Okay, so what makes? Okay, so what makes it illegal for them to be? I'm putting this in layman's terms, and I have a response for that. It's not that I don't know, but I want to see what you guys. I want to see what you guys' answer will be.
The only thing that makes them illegal is just not being citizens. That's all.
Not having proper citizenship.
And just
so why can't we make? Why can't we give them proper citizenship?
Because there is a process. There is a process in every country that exists.
Every country.
For that, all of us need to follow if we want to come visit somebody else's territory. It's their
Look,
territory.
I want to retire in Panama. I can't
They
just
have
move
their
to
culture,
Panama and
they
say
have a
I'm
whole
living here.
setup there. And it's just them saying, here's our set of rules. Please respect this. When you come here, you can come here. And it's the same thing. And whether we agree with it or not, it's the law. It is what it is.
That is true.
Okay, so we cut the rest off. We cut the rest of them off, and those that are here that we can't find, we make them go through that process because you're affecting families. You're not affecting a bunch of men that's just over here doing work off the record under the table. You're affecting families.
Everybody's saying you're
And
affecting
that's
families.
wait. That's a ripple.
They decided to come over here. They're adults. They chose to come here on their own. Granted, again, I don't have anything against anybody. Go ahead.
A lot of these people are adults now. Their parents brought them over here. Now they're adults. These people all these people weren't adults that came over here. They were kids when they came over here. Now they're adults. So it's you can't put all that blame on them.
I'm not blaming anybody. Again, this is our
so there
government's fault,
there needs to be a proper processing. That's all.
You know what I'm saying? It's just all I'm saying is we're adults. We got to take accountability. Again, it's not nothing personal against anybody. Again, my kids are half, but at the end of the day, impacts the economic, the way the economy runs. I'm not going to work 2 and 3 jobs. And I don't think it's okay that we have to pay into Medicaid and all this stuff to pay somebody else's way. I understand it's not their fault. I understand the process is lengthy and expensive. And I don't care if they're kids or adults. At the end of the day, it impacts us on a financial level when we go to the store, how much rent we pay, and I don't want to do it anymore. I am tired. So that's what it is. I feel for them. They need to fix the process because it's jacked up. But at the same time, we got to take accountability. We're adults. You know what I'm saying? We make choices. I would never, and I don't, my whole thing is, and I'm not knocking nobody because I can't sit there and say I know how it is over there because I don't. You know, that would be a lie. I don't know how it is. I've heard stories. It sounds rough, but I would never, it's rough to get here with our kids, right? And just the thought of that alone, I wouldn't do that. That's scary to me. I don't want to put myself in a position where I have to look behind my back every day. I don't want my kids, I don't want to be in hiding. You know what I mean? That's something I wouldn't do.
But all of them are not doing that. You guys are, all of them are not doing that. All of them are not doing that. Why are you guys acting like all of them are criminals? They're not. They're not waking up looking behind their, you know how many Mexicans I know? And they're not looking, they're not waking up looking behind their backs.
She didn't say criminal, she said look behind their back because even if they just
right, but I'm saying
they risk a chance of still being deported, criminal or not criminal. That's what she's saying. Looking
over, they're not looking about.
That's like me selling drugs.
Right, it's a lot of them.
It's your fault that I got caught, even though all my grown ass knew the consequences when I go out there and I sell drugs. I know there's a chance my ass could get rolled up and pulled over and all that. You know what I'm saying? I can sit there.
It's a lot of them not doing that.
But at the end of the day, it's my own fault.
It's a lot of them. It's a lot of them waking up normal as fuck because they've been over here so long. They're not waking up worried. You're not going to come in my classroom and disrupt my kids' graduation just to snatch my mom and dad.
I think
you're not. That's wrong. How do y'all see that? That's right. That's wrong. There's a right way to do something, and there's a wrong way. Even criminals. To go through. Even criminals have a right to a trial. This is wrong what they're doing, and you want to put a political stance on it to justify it. You can't justify this garbage. You can't. And the only
time get locked up.
And the Democrats are
still going to jail.
sabotaging what they have going on. What the hell do you mean? Make it make sense. You can sit there and argue. I don't agree.
What are you talking about? What do I mean? What are you talking about?
To go in there and raise the school. That is not what we said. So don't twist it and make it. I never said that.
No,
but that's part of the package. That's part of the thing. This is the thing. That's part of the wrong, is what I'm saying. That's just only one story. They're going in these people's jobs, snatching them up. They ain't even gave these people time to look for their mom and dad. They ain't gave these people time to look for their cousins. There's a right way to do something. There's a wrong way to do something. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
It needs to be reevaluated.
The reasoning is
it needs to be reevaluated. We have time.
But look, check it out. This is the reasoning though behind it. Even when you just seen people shoot up a whole goddamn school, and the police will cuff the dude, take him to get something to eat, bring him to the center, sit him down, find out what's going on. They're not doing that shit. The way they snatching up people, throwing them in vans, and unmarked people snatching them up. They're not being brought in with proper officials. Like the people that are bringing them in are in plain clothes, somebody with an ice jacket on, and they just getting snatched away from their family. I get it 100%. I agree with that 100%. The way that they're going about it is fucked up. Because you're taking people. It is fucked up. Hold on. Let me just say this. You're taking people that may have committed a crime, but they're not criminals. You got people that are from this country that are fucking dirtbags, and you don't treat them like that. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
You got people that go.
That's why. That's the stance I'm taking.
Went in schools and murdered people in the goddamn schools, and they still got treated better than somebody who just came here illegally. That's all I'm saying.
And I agree with that. And again,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
But that's.
The person, the situation, the example you were giving about going to take them out to eat. You know what the comparison is that they had the motherfucking complexion for the protection. They were white.
But that's
what I'm saying. When they took that little white kid that shot up the little black church, they took him to McDonald's first to eat.
Right.
So
to the jail.
So that's the point that I'm trying to make. Whether we agree that illegally they should be here, illegally they should not, that's all based on people's opinion. I know morally though, it's wrong the way that they just snatching people up in front of their kids, snatching people
Straight
out
up
of
wrong.
graduations, snatching people up out of their cars,
Yeah,
taking
I agree
people,
with that.
taking people's grandmas and grandpas and shit. That's just not cool. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. That's not cool.
And that's my whole stance.
My thing
That
is this.
that's
But hold on. But this is my thing. Like we said on part one, if you're gonna take out the trash, take out all the motherfucking trash. And that's where I stand on it.
that's
Real
true.
shit.
That's what I'm saying.
Take out these crooked ass police, take out these
Get
crooked
them
ass
out of here.
politicians, take out these
Get them out of here.
pastors and
Yep.
church, quote unquote
Yep.
church goers that's touching these little kids and shit. Take out all of these
Yep.
motherfuckers though. Don't just come
Start
looking for
from the-
somebody who crossed the border illegally to make a target out of them.
Exactly.
If we gonna take out the trash,
And that's what
let's take out
the
fucking trash. You know what I
This
mean?
is what I
That's
think.
what's
I think
bothering
all
me.
the pedophiles, I
That's
think
why
the
I
people
can't
that are
respect
shooting
it.
these schools up and everything else, I think they all work for the same team. And that's what I think.
When
Straight
people ran up in the Capitol, somebody lost their life. That whole movement was illegal. That whole movement was illegal. Everything that they did was fucking illegal. When they ran up on the nation's capital.
What's going on here with these protests?
But they still didn't get treated like the people that's getting snatched out their cars and shit. That's all I'm saying. I don't agree.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
I don't agree with the riots and shit, because at the end of the day, that costs all of us money and it puts a lot of people's lives in danger. I get that, and I understand people are angry, but I also don't think, and anybody with any bit of common sense would know. I don't know how many of y'all, everybody that been to LA. You seeing these motherfuckers with these rocks and throwing shit and doing all this shit, man. That shit ain't real. What I mean by that is there's no place in LA where you walking and they just got boulders lined the fuck up like we in Colorado some goddamn where to throw some rocks and shit. I believe all of this shit gets egged on as an attempt to divide our country.
There's paid people that's going over there bringing this shit there to instigate
half of the people that's doing that shit are people that's just.
They're not. I'm telling you off top, the Democrats brought them here and also are the same ones dropping off loads of shit. And that's what it is. All because they can't stand it. Because really, this ain't about, I mean, it's fucked up because the undocumented people, they're literally peacefully protesting for what they believe in. And you would think people like a society, a healthy society would support that and let them do their shit peacefully. But in this fucked up country, we got two different sides. Again, I don't know what this, right? It wasn't about the protest. I don't know about that. But from the looks of it, again, just from me sitting at home, turning on the TV, it looks like it's all together. I told y'all, I think there's paid people that's in there sabotaging the people.
There is,
right?
yep.
There is.
All because they hate
And the media.
Because
The media too.
They gas the shit up and they instigate.
They all,
and stir the
yes,
pot.
and it works. They like to go ahead and spread that toxic virus around for people to see, and people are watching easier now because of social medias. Okay, they are really targeting scenes that are not, like you guys say, it's not real. Why is there all of a sudden boulders and all this stuff? It's just like even previously, like the fires, anything that has happened, we watch it, whether it's the news or it's just straight up on the social media where other people are sharing. It's toxic and it's going all over and it's making people pissed off. And that was the trap. They hired people to go ahead and lure all the non-citizens to go out and be angry. And like I said, I have watched the riots here in Vegas, and the first night it was peaceful. Then all of a sudden, you guys want to bring all the cops there downtown just to make sure. And that's what pissing people off, because you're not giving us the freedom to go ahead and walk.
But
We're trying to
Here's
show
what it is.
something.
I'm gonna just keep it above. The same group of people that create this problem are the same group that always come up with the solution. And when our emotions are involved, we never say the right thing. We never think about shit. We
Right.
react instantly when our emotions
Right.
are involved. We always pick the irrational choice. And the reason why they do this shit is they know that, and that's why they use this as a tactic to get their way. They create the problem, pull a solution out of their asshole, just like they did with 9/11. And that's why we have a surveillance state now, because our dumbasses ate that shit up and they keep doing it and ain't nobody waking up to what the fuck is going on.
Right.
Yesenia is right on that. In Vegas, nothing going on. It was all peaceful. First of all, they didn't even go in the streets. They stayed on the sidewalks. Metro tried to come out with like hundreds of cops to make the scene look like just in case something pop off or something did go on or whatever. Man, it was so boring. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I thought it was gonna pop off. I was gonna take some lawn chairs, go sit out there with a sign, say I'm just here to watch. You know what I mean? But it wasn't nothing to watch. It was all peaceful, and it was so weird that you see. I don't know if you've seen it too. It was like it started at 7 o'clock and it was over by 9 o'clock, and everybody went home. That's how peaceful it was. Like,
because that's how
it started on time and ended
people
on
that
time.
they send in there to make this shit hit the fan.
They do. They do. It's the media. The media works with the politics. Media.
They're all on the same team.
Work.
The media, all of them. I'm telling you.
Yep.
The pedos, it's all that same group. I promise.
I think though they throw a lot of this shit out there to the public because they know these things are emotional topics, right? So they know that's gonna get a reaction out of people. And the quicker they can get reactions out of people, it's a news coverage, and then it also creates divide. And that's one thing about this country that's been at its highest more than ever. Like, we are being divided. Like, and it's an agenda. And people, I don't think, are just even being smart enough to understand the agenda is to divide all of us. Once everybody's divided, there's not gonna be no unity at all. And then that's where
we can't even blame nobody because we keep eating that shit up and falling for it.
Right. We
gotta take accountability for ourselves. We can't keep blaming everybody. And nobody's coming to save us. We gotta save ourselves.
It's the agenda behind it. And people are so emotionally invested that they're not being logical at all about half the shit that's going on right in front of their face. Like, people will sit here and say some shit that's immoral. The same people that say they have no problem with the way that ICE is going about it or the way the government is going about it, they wouldn't feel that way if it was their grandma getting snatched up.
Nope.
They wouldn't feel that way if it was their mama getting snatched out the car. They wouldn't feel that same way.
That's personal.
So it's easy for them to sit back and say, "Oh, they agree."
Yeah.
But this is coming from an emotional standpoint. We're not being logical. I don't want to see nobody getting snatched up from in front of their mama.
Hey, you right on that.
And even with
the boxer Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
Before during the election time, he was Trump this, Trump that, sign up. He was going crazy with the Trump stuff.
Yeah.
Now they snatched up his
That's
grandma.
crazy, right?
Got it reported. Now he on the internet crying.
They took his
You
grandma.
know what I'm saying? Yeah. When it hit, it's funny at first until it hit home. Then it ain't funny no more.
So that's why me, I always play devil's advocate. Because it's easy to sit back and say which is the first thing that comes to mind when it's off of emotion. But like they say, when emotion is high, logic is low. You see what I'm saying? Because you thinking with your feelings and not thinking with your damn brain. Now if they came,
so basically,
they went to your big mama house or whatever and snatched your ass up in front of you, in front of your family, at your kid's graduation, you'd be ready to fight. That's anybody. I don't care who it is. They're a damn lie if they say, "Oh, if my grandmother was illegal, then that'd be something she had." You're a motherfucking lie. Period, point blank.
Again, my dad's side of the family, they're straight Vietnamese. Like they're straight from Saigon.
Let's play devil's advocate.
And then we have immigrant family members here too.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate. You at your kid's graduation right now, and the ICE come through and snatch up your grandparents because they from Vietnam. How you gonna feel?
I would feel some type of way. However, again, I have family members that
there's no however. It's either
because Trump was saying this is what I'm going to do at the beginning. So all of us started saying, okay, what do we got to do to get the paperwork submitted?
So in
because
the event,
once
it
gets in there,
in the event you're we're just saying because I don't know your people. I'm just saying just in the event your grandmother got citizenship, but your grandfather wasn't able to get his citizenship, and they snatched your grandfather up in front of your grandmother.
I would feel some type of way. Hell yeah, I would. I would.
So
I would. Of course I would. Who wouldn't? You know what I mean?
And so that's my point. That's
because I don't think it's right. I don't think they should be in the schools. But I also think too at the same time it's like we got the media playing both sides because I don't know if you guys saw that video of like the group of they're labeled Proud Boys going there. They were hella quiet. They didn't even say a word. And the whole crowd was talking hella shit to them. And they got detained just for being there. And they were there to protest the military being on the streets because of the protests. They were like there to support the protesters, but then the media wants to paint them
They're
a certain
radicals
type of
though.
way. But the video was
See,
taken by a bystander.
They're radicals though. You talking about the Proud Boys? They're radicals.
I think that I don't know them. I don't know shit about them, but I do know from what I saw.
They go to shit like that with the specific agenda to antagonize people and induce a riot and incite a riot.
And I'm not saying, again, I don't know
for.
too much about them, but the video that I saw, the whole crowd was yelling hella shit to them. They literally didn't say one fucking word. They would just walk by. They were pushing them. They didn't do anything. They just walked by and they just stood on the sidelines because they were protesting the military being there, because the military has no business being, with the civilians on the streets. And
So
they got snatched up too, just like anybody else. And it was crazy because the dude that was videoing it, he was like, "Can you believe this?" He's like, "They're suppressing not just the protesters, but these dudes. They're hella peaceful." And the whole video ran from like the beginning when they walked in all the way through. So again, I don't know too much about them. I'm just saying from what I saw. And the reason why I'm saying I think the media is playing both sides is because I didn't see all the shit we've been told. Now, again, I think in my mind, even I have an idea of when I hear that word Proud Boys, right? Because what the media has told us. However, if I think back, I can't think of a time where I've actually seen any actual footage of them doing any of the things the media has told us. I'm going based off that one video that I saw.
Yeah,
You know
but you
what I mean?
can't.
And
Yeah,
they
but
look
you keep
peaceful,
bringing
and they
up
look like they
the.
were just peacefully.
What'd you say,
No,
What'd
bro?
you say?
there. No, there's no peaceful way to do that at all. There is no
To do what?
peaceful way to do that at all.
To do
Removing
what?
and separating a family, and the media can
Exactly.
manipulate us so much. Well, I'm too smart to be manipulated to that point. You keep emphasizing that we're being manipulated, and there's particular plants that they put in these crowds that's
There is.
deflecting
There
us from the
is.
actual truth.
That's a
No,
fact.
we
That
see
is
the
a
bulk of
fucking
the
fact.
picture.
Yes,
All
there
of
is.
us are not dumb. All of us are not dumb. The media can only deflect so much from the truth. We
Exactly.
know the truth. And this whole ICE movement is wrong. And who's
We're
funding
not
this?
saying
Who's funding it?
that it's not wrong. We agree that it's wrong. We agree with that with the approach is wrong. But
Because
at
you
the end
keep
of the
saying we're
day,
being
there
manipulated from the
is
actual
groups of
truth.
paid people that's
No,
going
you're
in there stirring up shit. Period. Point blank period. There's no
no, but
debate about it.
that's not. But you're using that as a deflection, as a disguise that
I'm
we
not
can't really
using
see what's
anything as
going
a
on.
distraction. It is
Even
what
with that
it is.
being the case, Even with that being the case, we can still see what's going on clearly. The media can only do so much. There's enough truth outside the
Okay, so
media.
what's your
I
point?
don't watch news that much, and I still
But
hear
what's
it.
your point
I,
though?
I
What's your
hear it
point?
from my point is you're justifying it overall what's
I'm not
going on,
justifying
and you're
anything.
backpedaling.
I'm not
Yes, you
justifying
are.
anything. I
First, you
didn't
said.
know. Do not poke holes in
First,
my
you
mouth. I
said.
didn't. Again, for the 50th time, we didn't say we agree with it. We understand. We don't agree with the behavior. None of us said it was cool. We
You said. So
understand that
you
it's wrong.
saying.
At the end of the day, whether you
So
agree
you
with it or
saying.
not, it's a
So you
fact.
saying.
We're not using it as an excuse,
So
as I
so
said.
you're saying.
There is groups of paid people that are there interrupting the protest. Period. It doesn't
So
justify
how
it.
much
It's
of
still
fake would
out of
you say?
pocket,
So how
but
much
it
fake
is
would
what
you
it
say?
is.
So how much fake would you say is being shown? What's the
How much
percentage?
what?
What's the percentage of the fake that's being shown on news? What percentage would you say that's been shown?
I would say like 98%. I don't trust that shit. They
No,
all work for the
no
same
way.
team.
There is no way. That's a large
There is a
margin.
way. They all work for the same
You
team.
said 98?
Yes.
You said 98%.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. It is.
I don't know what your evaluation on this situation, but it sounds like you don't have a
This is
grasp
a
on none
fact.
of it.
This is
The
a
thing
fact.
is,
So what makes
how
your so
come?
where's your fact? Where are you getting your facts
I'm not
from?
arguing with you,
Where are you
dude.
getting your
You
facts from?
have your opinion. You have the right to your opinion. I'm going to leave it
Where
at
are
that.
you getting your
I'm just
facts
spitting
from
facts.
though?
What were you saying, Senia? Sorry.
So I just wanted to say, the way it's impacted right now, how come this wasn't also shown when Obama was president and deporting non-citizens as well? Because he was, and there was people, and you saw videos back then, people, their whole family, the kids in cages, not eating for days, but nobody was protesting really then. Why are they doing
See,
it
thank
now?
you.
Because the media is also trying to do that. They're trying to divert this.
Why?
Whatever
It's
it
the
is,
same
it is
reason.
the truth and it's not right. But what they're doing, they're
I can
trying
tell
to
you. I can tell you why.
over-exaggerate
I can.
hold on, to
How
distract
are you going to tell
from
her
other
she's
things they're trying
Hispanic?
to
She's
do
from
behind our
Tijuana.
back. They're trying to overexpose this because they're hiding other things. And that's what I think, because they did not do this when Obama was president. Obama deported a lot of people,
Yep.
Yep.
but they didn't do shit
I
back
got an
then. But
answer for that ask. I can
now
tell
they're
you why.
doing something bigger. And now he's really
Why you
involved in
mad?
ICE and everything. He's trying to involve everybody because they're trying to hide something. And the media is
That's right.
also working with them to hide this, whatever
They're
they're
all on the
doing.
same team, period.
Yes, they are.
Okay, so your question was, where was this at when Obama did it?
Yes.
And why didn't
When
the people do
Obama
it, right? That
deported
was your
people,
question?
and there
He
was
deported
video
more.
of
That's
people,
true.
families in cages not eating for days, they wouldn't feed them or
Right,
anything. How come
It's
they were
true.
writing
right.
in dead? There's something else, because again, like we said, our protest from the beginning, LA, it was peaceful until the media and the military and whatever ICE was involved. All
Okay,
those
so
people are
okay,
working together to
so
distract us, because we're sitting here watching this media while they're doing something behind our backs to screw everybody
so
else as a
why didn't we
citizen
do?
here.
So what? So
Why
let
did
me
you
ask
do
you a
what?
question. Why didn't we do this when they hit us with bogus COVID? And what do you think will happen if they hit us with another bogus COVID again? I guarantee
Oh,
we
let's
gonna
talk
do what
about it.
they're
Let's
doing
do it.
now.
I mean,
We're not
allegedly,
even
that's what
talking
they're
about
talking
COVID. We're
about.
talking about the
No, no,
migrants.
I'm saying, let me understand my answer, right? We didn't riot and we didn't act up with COVID, right? Because that's the
Yeah.
first time they initiated it. I
Wait,
guarantee you
hold
the
on.
second time they initiate, I guarantee you the second time they initiate a bogus COVID, we're going to
Okay.
riot. We're going to
When
revolt. I
COVID was
guarantee you.
around,
I know this
there,
for a fact.
when
So
COVID
that's
was
why it
around,
didn't
get
happen
this.
with the first.
Okay, get this though. When COVID was around,
What?
everybody had to be stuck inside the house. What happened to the black people rioting around that time? All of a sudden, everybody's outside, but forgets about the damn COVID. You know that whole thing was fucking staged. The whole COVID thing. And they used
But there
that,
was no
and
revolt.
they used,
No, but we still got affected by it. We still got
right, but you
affected
have to
by
see
it.
how
So we let it.
easily distracted we are, because we were all of a sudden we had to be in the house. The next day, there's the black people rioting and everything like that, but nobody's really talking about the COVID. They using
No,
things
the
to
point, right?
distract us from other things.
No, but there's still gonna be a revolt. The next time they pull another COVID, it's going to be a revolt. You're not going to act out the first time. You're going to assess the situation and you're going to go
You're
along with it.
breaking up.
But
We
you're not
can't
going to do it
understand
the
you.
second time. What?
We can't
What'd you
understand you.
say?
You sound like a robot.
You're breaking up.
I love sounding like a robot.
Now you sound better.
Okay, they didn't. There was no reaction when Obama did it, because when you apply pressure the first time, you're not going to get a reaction. But when you apply that pressure a second time, you're going to get a reaction. So that's to answer your question. And if they try COVID again, I guarantee you, people are going to riot and revolt. I guarantee you they will. So sometimes when they apply pressure to us, we're not gonna act off of it the first time, but we will do it a second time.
Hold on, let's address this. So why do you think black people should assist in these protests? They shouldn't. Because let me tell you something. If the brown people start going out there, they're going to pin the blame on them like they always do. And that's just what it is. So I think all of us should not be
There,
fueling this fire. I don't give a shit where you're from, or I think honestly, if people want to really stand on business, if it was me, if I had to pick, I would say if y'all really want to make a difference, everybody stop going to work until, just like they did on the port when they did that port strike for the 14 days. Them fools lasted 14 days and got all the pay and everything they wanted. If people really want to make a difference, instead of letting these people sabotage us and put us in a vulnerable position, why don't, if people are really about it, then they would have the balls to say, you know what? F that, we're not going to go to work and shut the shit down. Because if you do that, the whole world stops, period. But people ain't about it. When it comes down to really doing something that can make an impact, ain't nobody about it, period.
Yes.
I can tell you as a black person, you why most black people hasn't joined the movement? Because we're expected to get out there and act a fool. We're expected to get out there and act crazy. So a lot of us are smarter than that. All of us are not dumb as black people. We know when to move and we know how to move, and there's timing because we got all eyes on us at all times. They can't wait for us to get out there in them streets so they can justify what they're going to do and what they want to do. So sometimes you got to sit back and let other people do what they do by themselves. Because we know if we get involved, we already know the reaction we're going to get
They gonna
from the
start
government
shooting.
and from
They gonna
racial
start
level.
shooting. They gonna
We
start
next.
shooting.
They're going to immediately. They're not using tear gas or none of that.
You're talking about
So
deportation,
that
things like that, and you get a lot of black people saying they feel like this isn't our fight. I mean, honestly,
Yes.
the black people in America,
it isn't our fight yet.
to do the fighting. And I think because the struggle is a little bit different. We're not the ones that's getting deported. You know what I mean? So it really doesn't affect us. Now, if you want to say Africans that are getting deported that live here, how come they're not out there? Asian people that's getting deported, why they're not out there? Other Hispanic people that's getting deported, how come they're not out there? I think that's who should be called upon right now, because it seemed like, at least on the West Coast, like I said, I haven't seen a lot on the East Coast what's going on. On the West Coast, they keep showing Mexican people being out there, but they're not showing Asian people being out there. They're not. We got a lot of Russian people on the West Coast. How come they're not out?
Because you don't see none of them other people getting deported. All you see is Mexicans. The media
brought the story with the 12 male techs getting deported. They took them out their jobs and took them.
No, but listen what I'm saying though. The media is hyping it up like it's a us against Mexico thing right now. That's all you're seeing in the bulk of it. You're not seeing, no Haitians getting deported. I'm not saying that they're not, but you don't see it. You don't see them. You don't see them deporting Asians and everybody else. All you see right now, the big thing that they throwing in our face.
But whose fault is that? That's
right
the media's fault. They're gonna portray whatever they want.
But
that was the answer to the question on why we don't see everybody else out there. I personally feel like this, and I'm just gonna keep it a band. This shit is all an agenda. So once they get done with the Hispanics, they're gonna come for everybody else to think anything that they can put on or whip up, they're gonna do it. I guarantee you that, or at least they're gonna try to do it. You see what I'm saying? So yeah. I don't want people to think that, oh, this is just gonna stop once it's done with the Mexicans, because it's not. If you talk about taking a whole damn race of people out of a country that they done been in and a country that they built on their backs, you don't think nobody else is next?
I feel like at this point where we're at right now, I feel like we have given them too much. You let these mother truckers slide, they're ice skating. We have given them too much power, and now we're to a point to where they feel like they have us dangling. They could do whatever they want to make this shit hit the fan. So we're gonna suffer either way. And I feel like at what point do we say, you know what, we recognize that and say, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna at least suffer on my own terms where we take control back, right? Because it's gonna go down either way. Either we could take control of our own situation, our own life, take accountability, and do something about it. Or we can just sit back and just assume that somebody's gonna come save us. Like always, ain't nobody fucking coming to save nobody. That's what it is. So until everybody realizes we're on the same team, it's literally us against these fuckers. That's what it is. It doesn't matter what approach they do. It doesn't matter what kind of chaos they create, because it's always coming from the same group of motherfuckers. Always. And we keep just sitting here thinking, oh, it's gonna be different. It ain't gonna be different. And it is what it is. At what point do people get their head out of their asses and recognize what it is and say, at least let me suffer on my own terms, or when I pick?
It's a division tactic, and I think what everybody is getting distracted from is exactly that. It's a division tactic. This whole shit is an agenda to divide this country.
It is.
And
but we're allowing it.
Once this country gets divided in enough pieces to where there's no strengths besides the powers that be, that's when shit is gonna be fucked up for people. Now, mark my words. I'm saying what I'm saying for a reason, because I think people are so caught up in the emotional aspect of what's being thrown in their face that they're not looking at the picture as a whole. They're only looking at this one little piece. The next they're gonna come for somebody else. Then they're gonna come for somebody else. Once you start knocking everybody off all the pieces off the chessboard, it's easier to win the game. So that's what y'all gotta understand.
80.
Say it again.
I'm gonna ask you this. So if the agenda is to keep everybody divided, are we together now?
No, we're not.
I see everybody doing their own thing. I'm
gonna say this.
I see blacks and black. I see a lot of Asians always with other Asians. I don't see nobody really together to begin with.
So here's the thing. We're able to coexist with each other now because we don't have a reason to be separated from existence. But when you talk about taking people straight off the playing field, you understand what I'm saying? Imagine a football game and the referees just come and say, well, shit, we about to take all the old linemen right now. Everybody's old linemen get the fuck off the field. You niggas can't play no more, this, that, and the other. What's gonna happen with the defense? They're gonna be stronger.
Fall apart.
The defense gonna be stronger if the whole line is gone. Then they come and say, well, you know what? We're gonna take out all the wide receivers. Everybody play wide receiver, get the fuck off the field. Now, so now how that game gonna look?
So I think we talked about this a little bit before we went live. I was talking to Stephanie and Yesenia, and I told them I wanted them to really get their truths on this. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with feelings. I don't give a fuck who get mad about it, but I really want to know, like, especially with California and the West Coast. Yesenia, I'm not sure if you have any ties to LA, if you ever lived there, or did you just come straight to Vegas, or what your route was here. But when it came, we'll just say Mexican for now, Mexican and black. From family growing up, maybe the people you know, is there a division with you? Were you taught at some point not to date a black guy, don't be around black people? Like, is there a really underlying hate? Like, for instance, and I'm gonna be straight up with you, and I'm gonna be completely honest, because there's certain words we can't say because YouTube is tied to this. But I'm originally from the South, from Georgia, and I moved to California. And you think about the South being home of the races, the Confederate flags, all that kind of stuff. In my life, I've been called more the N-word by a Mexican person than I've ever been called by a white person. And that's just honest to God truth. You know what I'm saying? So even with that being said, and then Sean, you know me, like, for instance, even my son, his mom is Mexican, and she's from Guadalajara, and then there was, even hearing her family speak sometime, there were underlying messages that they used to make comments of, like, because they didn't think I heard one day. I'm in the garage, and they were outside the driveway, and I had the garage door closed, and they were like, I always wanted you to marry a Mexican man, and this and that. And so there was always kind of innuendos like that. Now, too, also seen a lot of kind of backlash when it came to black and Mexicans, mainly more from the men than the women. You know what I mean? I didn't see a whole lot of women have the problems. I always seen the men, and the women would just, like the mom or the sister, would just follow suit and follow behind either the dad or what the brothers were saying. You know what I mean? So with you growing up, just be honest, did you experience any of that, or do you even have friends and family like that? And is there really a division?
Yeah, I can actually say yes. When we first moved here, not in LA, because we were living there in LA when I was very young. But once we moved here in Vegas, and maybe it was because of my parents' age, or I don't know. But yes, they didn't want me to date any other race but my own race. Okay. And it's more they did not want me to date a black man. But then that changed because they got to be around more black people, whether at work or when they were taking me to school. They got to be around with more. And I started dating black men. I do have a child that's mixed with a black man. Okay. And their whole perspective about that has changed. Not everybody's the same. again. And I think that's everyone. We tend to stereotype. And they just wanted me to be with my own kind. And I told them I can't, because I know I dated Mexican men. And the ones that I dated were unfortunately the ones that made me stereotype not to date any Mexican men, because a lot of them are aggressive, controlling, and everything. And I don't want to date that. It just happened that way. But they had changed their perspective. But yes, that's still, it's not even just, again, because a lot of times we don't even like Salvadorans, or we can get along with Cubans, stuff like that. So it's not just the black men, but it has been stronger hate, I guess, out of every other race, yes, towards the black people.
We always the one that's the strongest that people disagree with me and somebody with.
That's, yeah, right.
I've heard that my whole life. But I've also heard the flip side of it when our aunties or our mamas is telling us the same thing. Don't bring home no Mexican girl, don't bring home no white girl. They want you to date a black woman too. So I don't think that shit is, I don't even think that's so much a racist. I think it has a lot to do with where you from and what generation you're from.
Yeah,
I think that has a lot to do with where you came up from, where your
not really the date aspect of it. I mean, like, because it's not a secret in LA. There is division in LA because there's a lot of politics in LA.
It is.
You got Mexicans in East LA, you got blacks in Compton, and you got some Mexicans in Compton as well. But you even have riot. Now, I don't want to use the word riot. You have blacks against Mexicans in high school fighting all the time. You even go to jail and prison. The Mexicans aren't allowed to kick it with black people, even if y'all can friends on the streets. You're not allowed to kick it with blacks in jail. But they do piece up with the Aryan Brotherhood in the prison system. The white boys that you're going against right now in the street that work for ISIS.
Yeah.
But that is a real thing. Mexican mafia do not want you to be affiliated with black people, period.
And that's that is real, but I think a lot of it has to do. LA is a different animal, right? Like we got to really. I had to tell some people that today. I was talking to this from out here, and they was asking me about California and LA. Man, LA is a gang affiliated, militant-minded city when it comes to politics. There's no other place that operates like Los Angeles. Nobody. And I think anybody that's been to LA, anybody that's been a decent amount of time in Los Angeles, LA is a different. You can't compare LA with nothing else, bro. Because even in the East Coast, New York, like the blacks and the Mexicans and not Mexicans, but the blacks and the Latins. The blacks and the Latins are together for the most part. You know, you're gonna always have some people that feel a certain way about another group, but the way that they intervene is way different. Being from Northern Cali, we don't have the same politics that LA got with the Mexicans. We grew up with a lot of good homies that was Mexicans, and it was down, you know, just because we all from the same area. And our politics in Northern California ain't the same as it is in LA. LA is a different bowl of grapes. So when people are bringing up LA politics, you got to think about LA has its own fucking politics. Now, and a lot of people don't have the same viewpoint as if you grew up in Los Angeles. Because Los Angeles is its own, they're their own government when it comes to street politics. Like from out here, what I've seen in Texas, especially Houston, the blacks and Mexicans, they get along. You know what I mean? Like I said, you're going to always have your groups of certain people that might not, but the demographic is way different in anywhere else besides LA. So keep that in mind when y'all talking about LA politics. LA politics ain't like nowhere else in the country, bro. That shit is real. From the streets to the pen, they operate different. They militant. You see how we used to be, we'll be somewhere, and how the LA cats, when they get somewhere, how they even stand, bro. Like everything with them is militant. It's programmed. So they operate according to their program because the motherfuckers who run the pens is the same motherfuckers who run the streets. In Los Angeles, the Hispanics outnumber the blacks. I would assume at least 60-40, if not more.
Yeah,
60-40, if not more. In Northern California, it's not the same. We about equal. So in the same places we be, the same places they be, and we operate different. We grew up with Mexicans. We wasn't really brought up to have that divide. Now, if you had older family members that probably is in their 60s and 70s now, they grew up under different politics too. They grew up when shit was segregated. So naturally, they're gonna try to pass down to you, you know, oh, you need to be with a black person, or you need to do this, you need to do that. That just comes from generations too, from generations. You gotta think about everything is passed on from either where you grew up from, what area you from, what generation you from, or what type of family you got. So that gets sprinkled all
With
the way
me,
down.
with I didn't
Stephanie
have
though,
any of these problems. I was raised.
Stephanie
I was
though,
raised in Texas.
yeah, all three of y'all got some part of Texas affiliation. All three of y'all.
Yeah, I didn't have
Houston,
none of those
Houston is
problems.
different, bro. Houston politics ain't like California politics.
Yeah,
bro.
I'm not seeing none of that beefing or any too much hate. What I seen out here is like people from Mexico, they don't really mess with the Texas Mexicans. Out here I seen it's like they different. You know what I mean? The Mexicans from Cali is different from the Mexicans out here in Texas. So I don't know what that be about because
So
I ain't
Sean,
Mexican.
what about that time when we all came out to Dallas and we was with DT in that little bar when we was leaving that bar and we was walking down the sidewalk? And remember the two Mexican guys that was walking past us like this, and it was like, "Watch out!" And the word they said, because I can't say it because of YouTube purpose, but they said, "Watch out!" And remember when your brother had to put hands on him and knock them all into the taxi cab van?
Yeah.
That was still.
It's gonna be a couple. It's always gonna be a couple knuckleheads, man. I think for the most part, though, I mean, it just depends where you at and where you from, bro. Because LA politics is different. LA politics is real politics.
Yeah, it is.
And the thing about LA politics is they ride the same way in the street as they do in the pen.
Absolutely.
Them politics ain't far. Them ain't far apart. Like them two worlds ain't that far apart from behind bars to in the streets when you in LA. Because of the gang ties. You see what I'm saying? So that shit is completely different. Like compared on a scale across the whole country. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I don't think it's the same. Now don't get me wrong. I'm sure the same sentiment across the board when it comes to blacks as a whole. Because I've heard other races say the same thing too. I've heard Asian people say the same thing. I've heard Indian people say the same thing. Like I've heard other races say the same shit. They was told when they were a little kid, don't mess with a black person, don't do this, don't do that. And that's something that gets installed into their head. They see a lot of it. It's the same shit we talk about with the media shit. They see the shit on media. They see black people doing the shit that they doing. They don't see the good shit. They just see the shit that the news put on. They see the shit that they see on the YouTube. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something, man. We just gotta maneuver differently.
All right, let me ask you, Stephanie, back to you on the same question we actually sent you.
Sorry, can you repeat what you just said? Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm trying to remember too.
Yeah, we can hear you.
LA politics.
He was asking when you was coming up, did your people, your parents, aunties, grandmas, whatever, tell you not to mess with black people or date black dudes?
Well, my mom's side of the family is like very racist against all races, and my dad's side is Vietnamese, and they're racist too. If they just feel like you got to stick with your race. He's not like that anymore, though. But even when we go to like family shit, like you know how they be speaking in their language, and you just know, like I'm the black sheep of the whole family, so I'm just like, yeah, fuck y'all, because even if they talk shit, but yeah, I think that depending on where you grew up, the East Coast I'm from South Carolina, so over there's a lot of racism. They still have their Confederate flag shit. I don't agree with that either. Some people look at it like, okay, pride. Some people look at it as like a Southern thing. I look at it as like racism. You know what I mean? And when I tell you my family tree is like, I'm talking like KKK on one side, Vietnamese mafia on this side. That's literally the dynamic. They don't interact with each other. There's no none of that. It's very divided. It's just crazy. The East Coast is a lot different than West Coast for sure. It's just weird, It's weird because my mom wasn't racist, but her whole family, like my grandma and everybody, it was very, very racist. Like I went back and forth growing up. Like the East Coast, it was like I'm the minority there. I'm like the 1% and everybody, it's like all African Americans, you know what I mean? And I think even in that scenario, I think every culture, no matter who it is, they feel some type of way when we say somebody that's not the same race. I think they all have the same views.
Okay. And the reason I was asking
And
you
it
guys these
depends.
questions because I wanted to lead into the second part of the whole podcast of why they're saying that blacks aren't participating in the whole protest. You know what I mean? And if they aren't, kind of why do you think that is? Do you think they should be out there protesting?
I don't
Do
think
you
they
feel
should be,
that
and
is
I think a lot
everybody
of
should be
African
out there?
Americans have taken the L's for all this shit for everybody because they normally, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I feel like a lot of scenarios, the African American is quick to back everybody up. You know what I mean? Because they've always been the target from back in the day. So it's like kind of embedded in their mind, right? So because of that embedded, that social conditioning, right? I think that's why they've always been the ones to let me come jump because they're just used to it being that. You know what I mean? And I think they're tired. They're sick and fucking tired because no matter what scenario, even if it's a scenario like this scenario right here, if they go out there, we already know how it's going to go down because they'll just like she mentioned the Black Lives Matter. You can't compare apples with the oranges. When that shit was going on, they want to paint them as the worst people ever, and then in this scenario, they're the victim. No, it's got to be equal. You know what I mean? And I think they recognize what it is, and they're just not gonna. They're not gonna do it anymore. They've been doing it since we can remember. So you can't do the same shit over and over. Expect a different result. You got to switch it up. And I think that's the point. Evolution, right? Is like people grow and they grow through what they go through, and then they evolve. And I think that's where they're at right now. And
And
I think I
there's
don't
no
think they should be.
reason.
I don't think it's their fight.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. It's not about because why would the black people come and support us? This is about deportation. This is not about racism because again, it's not just Hispanics that are being deported. They're
Yeah, they're
not.
from everywhere.
Exactly. So yeah, why would black people support us? It has nothing to do with our race, racism, or anything like that. But again, they're putting this out there because they want to go ahead and keep things divided again, because they try to push it so much. Why are black people not in this? Because
And
again, it's
like
not
she
their
said, I
fight.
think they're pushing that idea, like she just
Yeah,
said, to get y'all to get out there. Don't fall
See,
for
and
that
that's
shit.
right.
and you see again. That's why I was asking you this questions about your upbringing and parents and this and that because if you guys go on to YouTube, there's so many different podcasts on there and also news, and they were stating that black people aren't helping with the protest, and then you'll see a lot of black people on here on different channels saying that, hey, why would we go out there and help? Mexican people don't even like us. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I was asking your guys' opinion. That's what I was trying to lead into.
I think also too from a larger spectrum as a whole, not just the people that are involved with the protests and everything else. I think the timing behind this is a big deal too. The fact that so many Hispanic people voted for Trump, and Trump is the one that's trying to deport the Hispanics. I think a lot of black people sitting back looking at that like a slap in the face. Because when the votes were going on, it wasn't only just for a minority president, it was for a woman president on top of that. And then she just happened to be a black woman on top of that. So when people were casting votes, it was like, fuck all that. We're gonna vote for Trump. That's what we wanted to do. Yada yada yada. And when them numbers came in, I ain't gonna lie, I was shocked my damn self. I was shocked myself to see so many Hispanics wanting to vote for Trump when he already from the jump told everybody, I want to build a wall to keep them out. Now,
Yeah.
I'm sure people found
Right.
I'm sure people found whatever reason that worked best for them, because that's all politics is, right? It's about the
Who was the
politicians
better
gonna
one?
tell you, what they think you want to hear, but at the end of the day, they only about their own agenda. And for the people that are voting, for the citizens that are voting, we're hearing what we want to hear, or we see something that we want to see, and we say, okay, I'm leaning more towards this way because I resonate with these with X, Y, and Z. So when Trump won all the Hispanic votes, a lot of black people look back like, damn, I can't believe that many Hispanic people voted for Trump. Like real shit. Like I couldn't believe it. I was like, damn, I didn't think that many Hispanic people would vote for Trump. And then now it's turned around to bite, a lot of Hispanics in the ass because, and I'm sure the Hispanics that are getting deported, majority of them probably didn't vote for Trump. It might have been like Benz was saying earlier, it's the ones that knew they was legal citizens, felt that they were better. They're on a different spectrum from the illegal immigrants that might be here, or the non-documented. I don't like saying illegal immigrants, the non-documented people that are here. You know what I mean? But we were shocked as a community to see that many Hispanics backing up Trump, like on some real shit.
It was 52% was for Harris, 48% was for Trump. So down there 50-50. And then with your black vote, it was 81% for Harris on that end. So like you said, it might be that's why a lot of black people probably aren't jumping into it, because like, hey, we voted for this person, you didn't. Now you want us to come help with this fight. You know what I mean? So
longest for me as a black person, longest the justice is being properly applied. It's a lot of injustice that's affecting me about the case. And as a black man, the reason why I support the Mexicans from a group standpoint, when I see a group of people being unjustifiably handled, I take that personal, because as a black man, I know what that feels like. So that's my personal stance on it, and that's why I support the gathering, the group in numbers. I don't support the chaos, but I do support the group, because they're a race of people. Any race of people that's being unjustifiably mishandled, I know what that feels like. So that's why I support it.
I agree.
And I like I said, I was born in Watts, but I was raised in Texas. I didn't encounter any of the situations that you guys spoke on. I mean, I did encounter Caucasian racism, but I didn't encounter a disconnect with a Mexican or Hispanic or nothing like that. Like, it was totally the opposite with me. They was, everyone I met was damn near cool as fuck, So
yeah, Cornell
I
on
couldn't
here.
relate with that.
Cornell got a question on here for you. He said, wouldn't have justice ever been applied correctly to the black man? Never.
Exactly.
That's real.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I stand on that side, because I can relate to that, what they're going through. I feel like it needs to be delegated in a better fashion, in a more delicate manner than what is being pushed now and how it's being pushed.
You're saying, are you first
So-
generation?
Am I what?
Are you a first generation as far as having citizenship here?
I do have citizenship here, and the whole thing was we did it the right way. My parents wanted a better life for me and my brother, and so they decided to do it the right way. My father fixed his papers first, and he became a citizen, and he was able to go ahead and work. At that time, it wasn't as expensive as it is now. They ask for more stuff now for the progress, and it does take longer now. While you're there waiting, you're waiting for documents that that take a couple of years.
Okay. So let me ask you this then. If, let's say it's expensive, let's just say you got a family coming over here, maybe no one's legal or whatever, and you got everybody working in the household. Does the family come together like, hey, it costs X amount of money? You guys put resources together to say, hey, let's work on one person at a time then, and get one person legal, then the next, or do everybody just say, to hell with it, we're not going to do it? If we get caught, then so be it, or do they just not try to follow the process no more because you got comfortable and say you were here too long? And you just
Right. And I agree with that part. I think that's part of it where they get too comfortable, It's like you have a warrant, you're watching your back, they're gonna come and get you, but then you start slipping and you start getting comfortable and you don't think you're gonna get caught because it's been a long time and you start building your family and everything like that. The thing is, if a parent comes here and they work on their citizenship, once they become citizen, their children under the age of 18 become citizen as well. So that
Yeah.
would be actually the best option, because we actually didn't get it until we were grown, and we have to actually do it ourselves, become a citizen. So there's different ways, but I really do feel like you said, they get too comfortable and then they forget, because they do make the money. I mean, if you see our culture, they live differently. They're trying to save money again, not just for themselves to build something here, but for the family back in Mexico, wherever. They're just trying to do everything, and they just get too comfortable.
I wanna say this, and then when I say it, I wanna be, and it's just my perspective. I just want to be honest with everything. Okay. Like for instance, and if I'm wrong with something, just please correct me on it, because I want to know too. But like, if I see, my thing is this: if you came over here illegally, right, and you took that chance to come here, and knowing that you could get caught at any moment, any day, any year, and it could be, and you know, it's not like that in every other country, that you get caught, you will be kicked out of the country, right? And you've been here, you're working and making money. And so, like, part of it, like the inhumane part, is how they're going about it. But then at some point, do people take accountability as being adults, that, hey, you didn't take the steps to go handle your business.
Right.
Go handle your business. You know what I mean? Yeah, but sometimes it might take long. I heard some people say it took them 10 years to become a citizen, but they kind of stuck with it. You know what I mean? Also, when we talk about the kids' sake, right? You're going to know this firsthand. If you know you're not a citizen here, and you know there's any time that something could happen, you could get caught, they can try to deport you, whatever the case might be. Still, as an adult, you made that decision to have a kid here, and you jeopardize the kid, right? That if you get deported, you could be separated from your family. That's still a decision you made. You know what I mean? So, and then when they say about the work and the jobs, I think Sean brought it up earlier too, when he was saying, like, who's going to do the jobs that nobody want to do, right? And I get that. But I also don't want to discredit Mexican people, because not all Mexican people are working low-income jobs. There's Mexican people with decent income working construction jobs and making money, right?
Yeah.
And some might take a smaller wage and get someone that is a citizen to not have an opportunity to have a job. That's where I think too the people are getting upset about. You know what I'm saying? Like, if, for instance, if a construction job is paying $50 an hour, but I can hire this Mexican guy for $35 an hour, I'm gonna go give it to him. Which, whoever the business owner is, I get it, because it makes business sense money-wise, right? But the citizen guy on his end is going to be like, "Oh, they're taking jobs from us, and I'm a citizen here, and he's not." You know what I mean? And that's where that problem come in at.
Right.
But then too, I think Stephanie brought up at one point, she was talking about trades and education wise. Maybe you know this better than I know it, because maybe you have family members. But so when we go out, let's say I want to go get a job and learn a trade. Nowadays, they want us to go to a trade school and learn everything. What comes to school comes with debt now, right? You'll have some Mexican men here. They work. Well, you in Vegas, we got tire shops down there on every block here. Used tire shops. That's a skill. That's a trade. You got look at all the restaurants we go into. It doesn't matter if it's Italian, Mexican, Japanese, sushi people. A lot of times you got a lot of Mexican people making the food. Where did you learn how to do all this? I don't know how to roll sushi and do all that. How did you learn it?
You learn just like anybody else will learn. You know, you don't need to go to school. First of all, one thing is, I do agree that as adults, like Stephanie says, we are accountable for what we're doing. Okay, we know we come here illegally. We should not be surprised when they're trying to deport us. Okay, we should not be surprised. Second of all, school over there, education, you start paying for school since you're in kindergarten. Okay, you got to just pay here starting college or trade schools. We had to pay for books and everything starting from kindergarten up. And so a lot of them do not even graduate. Back then, they didn't graduate. You know, they wouldn't even finish. They wouldn't even enter high school over there, because it would be so expensive. And a lot of times you grow up in big families where you have to help your parents by bringing in money. At 9 years old, my father started working because he needed to help the house out. He was the oldest one out of the whole family. Out of all the siblings, he had to go to work first. He stopped going to school in 5th grade. He doesn't have an education. But guess what, though? We started by, he had a job as a landscaper. He started working in one of the main, like a country club, or like it was like a high-end place in Cali, okay? And they decided to come down here and build Spanish trails in Vegas, okay? They brought my dad as the head landscaper to teach everybody else what they wanted because he did such a good job. He was hardworking and everything. So they brought him here. That's how we came to Vegas. So you get to learn. As a Mexican, we get to learn from little how to do a lot of skills because we have to make that money.
Are they teaching Mexicans? Let's just say they're paying Mexican people lower wage. In return, with this lower wage, as adults, are they teaching them these trades that we got to go to school for? Are they getting free education on these trades? Because
no,
I don't see no black used tire shop. I don't see the black man, and I'm just saying black, so I don't want to speak another race because I'm not that. I don't see the black man being the head sushi roll guy. Know how to do that. Or the head black guy in the Italian restaurant.
True.
You know, I cook all the pasta dishes. I do see Mexicans in all these places cooking all these different dishes. Who's teaching them that is what I want to know. That other people aren't getting the opportunity to learn that.
You never know. Maybe the employer is because they're paying them less.
How are you designing buildings? How do you get construction jobs? Who's teaching you that?
They are
We don't get that. So how do you, if you're illegal, how are you getting this training to have these jobs? High crane lifts. That makes, I think they around 75, sometimes higher an hour to work in cranes. How are you getting this education to do that?
I think a lot of them get on the job training because again, every person I've ever worked with, they're hard workers. Like, you know,
Yeah.
So can we get that?
Potential in somebody, of course,
Anybody could if they're hard workers.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying, do we get offered that? Can I take lower
We
wage?
don't get offered
But
that.
see, this
Americans
No,
are-
you don't get the lower wage. No.
But see, check it out. This is the part that you're missing, Benz.
Americans are greedy.
This is the part that you're missing. 9 times out of 10, when you go to any establishment like that, like you mentioned, the head person is one of their people. The problem with black, you ask the specific question you ask is black. We don't see black people a lot of that because black people don't put other black people on, bro. You know how that shit go. You know how that shit is. Like when the Mexicans come, they come with an agenda. Like, and I'm sure a lot of races do. When you see the liquor stores and it's owned by the Iranians, they hire just their Iranian families. They don't go hire no Mexicans, no white people, no black people, none of that. They put their family on. When you go to the nail shop, it's the same thing. You go to the nail shop, it's nothing but Asians in the whole nail shop. And half of them probably don't be legal. I remember I used to be in the South when I used to live in South Sac, and I had a chick named Stephanie. She was bad with the Clippers. She was Asian. And she used to tell me, she was like, every year we buy another house, and then the next year, the following year, we buy another business. And we bring our people over, we all live in one house, and then the next year we start another business for them to work at. So like when they bring their people over, they already come understanding whether they get citizenship or not. They have a game plan. Okay, we own a barbershop.
I get that.
We hold on. We own a barbershop. We own a nail shop. We're gonna go get 4 of our people this year. 2 of them gonna go work in the barbershop. 2 of them gonna go work in the nail shop. Then next year we're gonna go buy a house to put another 4 people in to come live in. That like she said, they literally this is their plan.
I get that, but there ain't no. I'm talking on a higher end thing where they ask us for education or training to do. Like I get the barbershops, the stores, and all that kind of stuff. And liquor store, to me, that's on a lower end. I'm talking about, I don't know no Mexican person that owns KB Homes that owns the housing, the developer. I know the Mexican person that helped build the houses, but I don't know the Mexican that's the developer. These white people are owning the KB Homes. How are the Mexican people getting the training to build these homes without the school? Like for instance, I got to go to.
They're the ones that want to pay them because they don't want to pay someone that has the education that has to get paid more.
So listen,
is that
this
fair? That's my point right there. What you said, Yesenia. So is it fair to us that, hey, can I say, hey, give me the option in? Because you never know who would say, hey, I'll take a lower wage if y'all can give me free
But you're
training.
not. But
We
you're
don't
not
even
though.
have
That's the
that
thing though. You're
opportunity.
not though. Everybody else is expected. Oh no, I'm not gonna do that job for this wage. No,
exactly.
then they said the employer says, oh well, I'd rather go ahead and hire someone that's gonna go ahead and I can train them and pay them lower. Why not? I don't have to even give them medical right there because they're not citizens. They can't get it.
The part that all y'all missing is this: the people that are putting them on look like them. When you go to the construction sites,
80,
yeah, man,
Mexican people don't own the KB homes.
But it's
The
not about
Mexicans
them.
don't own
It's
big construction stuff.
But listen though, it's not about them owning the KB homes. If the foreman is Hispanic, he can go pull whoever the fuck he wants to.
Now that part is true. That's true.
So that's what I'm
foreman
saying.
does the hiring.
So there's a hierarchy to everything going on. What you looking at, you saying there's no Hispanics that own the KB homes, you may be right. But if the person that owns the KB home hires a Hispanic foreman, that Hispanic foreman can put on whoever the fuck he wants to. It ain't no agenda that he got to hire a certain amount of black people, a certain amount of white people. He can go get a whole Mexican crew if he wants to. And you've seen that. How many times have you got to a construction site and it be nothing but white boys? Nothing but white boys.
I work.
One black person
I
and
worked.
Mexican on site. It's all white boys. When I be pulling up
I
to
worked
these
for the.
sites, when I pull up to these sites in the big ass F250 and all that shit, when I be pulling up, they be looking like, who is this nigga? Who is this? You know what I mean? What he doing driving one of those? What he doing here? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like on the Django when he say, who is that nigga on that there? That's how they look at a nigga when you pull up in the same trucks that they be in the shit. Cause they looking like, well, he ain't supposed to be up over here. I done pulled up to construction sites, bro. I bullshit you not. And the foreman will be white, and everybody underneath him will be white. I done pulled up to certain sites where the foreman is Hispanic, and everybody working for him is Hispanic, bro. If you a foreman, that's your duty to hire whoever the fuck you want to, because that's your crew. That's your crew. So when you see in these big
I
buildings
worked
and
for
construction
the.
sites going on and shit, there's a foreman who's getting paid the bag. That foreman is getting the money. He's the one that put in 17, 18 years as a cement mason or whatever his job title is. When it's time for him to designate a crew, he picks who he want to pick. Yes.
There's a certain aggression that you're gonna have to learn how to do something. I worked for the union a short amount of time, right before COVID hit, and I ran into this union guy. He was a head guy, and he said, "I'm gonna give you one of these shirts because you need to look like us, one of us." And I said, "Well, I don't know a lick of what I'm doing." He said, "We're gonna go to Harbor Freights. I need you to get a work bag, throw some garbage ass tools in there, and we're gonna walk in here and you just watch what I do and just observe." And I did that for a week. Next thing you know, when it was time for me to go home, they said, "Hey, before you leave, go to that table over there and tell them we want you here tomorrow." And I didn't know shit about what they were doing, but I just watched, I observed, and every day I was coming to work and I was getting paid bread too. And I didn't know shit about no forklift, no none of that. And I learned. So some of that, to answer your question, Freddie, there's an aggression of which you want to. And when I left the house, when I left my dad's house, I I was a dropout. I didn't go back to school. I was 10 years old. It's the last time I saw a classroom. My mom begged me before I left the house when I was leaving for good. She said, "John, go mow grass." She said, don't find no employment job, none of that, because you don't have the education. She said, go mow grass. Okay. Don't do that to yourself. I walked right into Walmart. I didn't have my social security. I didn't have my birth certificate. My name was John Doe. I filled out the application. Only thing I put on that application was my first and last name. And they took that application, they put it under the table. And they looked at me and they said, "If you can work like your oldest brother that we hired 10 years ago, you got a job." And that's my first job at Walmart. And I didn't have none of that. So I just watched and I learned. So that's kind of what, to answer your question when you said, how are they learning this stuff? I learned it quick. That's how I learned. You just observe, and there's an aggression that you have when you want to do something. And a lot of times when they know that they're not here legally and they don't have the papers, oh, they're gonna either watch YouTube, they're gonna go to the library and learn some of that stuff, or they're gonna talk to a friend that used to do that type of job, and that's how you learn.
Yeah, because you could pull up to Home Depot, and when you see the Hispanics in front of Home Depot, why do you think they out there? They looking for cheap labor work, bro. Like, you know what I mean? They're not certified. They don't got no certificate, no certification, no none of that. But I guarantee that fence will get put up, and it's gonna get put up for way cheaper than it would if you would have called Joe and Sons fencing. You see what I'm saying? So no, for real. And see, that's the part about it that throws a lot of people off, because a lot of people will sit back with all of their political stances on the shit, but they're not going to be the ones doing what's getting done, bro. And that's what I tell you. Like I said, if the Hispanics said, you know what, we're going to take 72 hours off of everything that we fucking do, I promise you this country would just drop.
Crash.
72 hours,
this motherfucker gonna crash.
In 72 hours, you would see such a fucking difference in this country if all the Hispanics said, you know what, for the next 3 days, we ain't doing
Now they're going to rely on the robots.
So
the robots are coming.
So that should be the actual.
The robots are coming.
That should be the protest.
That's the plan B they're trying to implement. That's the
plan. The robots
B they're
are
trying
coming.
to implement. But what happens to robots after a certain amount of wear and tear? They break down. You got to repair them. They can't.
But them robots,
that's not functional like a human being.
Them robots ain't gonna be here in 72 hours.
No.
I tell you that now. I tell you that now. If the Hispanics said we ain't doing
so you're gonna see the change. You're gonna see the
right now. I'm gonna tell you right now, because don't nobody work harder than the Mexicans. I'm gonna keep it a band.
No.
If the Mexicans said, if the Mexicans said right now we ain't doing shit until goddamn Friday morning, we'll see how y'all motherfuckers survive until then. I guarantee you.
No, you're not gonna fix it. The chain gangs. The chain gangs, my man.
I promise you right now. If they said we ain't gonna do shit till Friday morning, don't expect us to show up to shit. I guarantee you by Wednesday night, some calls is gonna be getting made. And you know what? We made a mistake.
No, it won't. No, it won't. They're gonna go to the prisons. They're going to the prisons. They're going to the jails.
Trust what I'm telling you.
They're testing that out now.
They're going to the prison system.
Yeah, they're testing that now.
They're going to the prison system.
That's why
they're going to use the inmates.
That's why.
They're going to use the inmates.
So
they're using the inmates.
What's the majority of the goddamn inmates in prison?
Blacks.
And who else?
It don't matter the color. They need that work done. They need that work done. It don't matter your color.
That's the point I'm trying to make. At some point, they still gonna be relying on some Hispanics to get some shit done. I promise you that. This country cannot. Especially California, nigga. California will go under, nigga, in 72 hours without Mexicans. I promise you that. I promise you that. California will fucking go under if the Mexicans said for 72 hours we're not gonna do shit then. I promise you that.
More power to them.
It has already affected here. I know that for sure. It looks so different right now without Hispanics being out there running their businesses. There's a lot of businesses that are
closed. It's a whole different ballgame. You gotta think about this. This is what you gotta think about. All right. The first thing is food and produce. That's the first thing everybody gonna need for anything that's gonna take place. You don't see no white folks out there. You don't see no black folks out there. You don't see no Asian folks out there. It'd be 100 degrees. It'd be 100-something degrees, and they out there pulling the produce, doing all the shit. When it's fucking freezing cold out there, and niggas was having freezing temperatures, guess who was still out there pulling them fruits and vegetables off them goddamn trees? Guess who was still doing it? So it's just certain shit that it's easy to sit back when we're living in our home and our lights is on and we can go to HEB or Kroger and go get our shit. But 72 hours of the Hispanic saying I'm not finna do nothing. All right, well, we gonna see. I promise you, your daily functions will be fucked up. I promise you that. 72 hours. In 72 hours, this motherfucker gonna look like a goddamn the vampire.
It's gonna look like COVID at the very beginning.
I'm trying
another pandemic.
Yeah, it's gonna look worse than COVID.
I'm trying to tell you.
Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all now. I grew up in the rose fields and in the watermelon fields and the cornfields. That's how I grew up before I went off into the world. I was out in the field. So for me, speaking for myself, I know how to get my hands dirty for sure. So if it's a lot of people like me, it's up.
But that's a small group, bro. That's a small group to we talking about millions. We ain't talking about a
Hey,
couple niggas.
I know
We ain't
how to
talking
go
about
ahead and grow my own vegetables because I learned from my dad when I was little how to grow your own vegetables, how to milk a
That's what I'm
cow.
saying. A lot
I
of
know how
people,
to survive in all that. A
the
lot of
mass-
people
I
don't.
If you took 10 people right now and said, how you gonna survive off the fucking land, or survive, by growing agriculture and things of that nature, 2 out of 10 people will probably survive. Everybody else will die.
You know what they're gonna do? If they did, if say the Hispanics say I'm not doing it, you know where the United States probably go? They gonna start hiring a whole bunch of Asian people. A lot of Asian people know how to do all that too, and they will. And they're gonna get the Asian people, not your computer science ones. Well, we know it's even Sacramento. They're gonna go for your Cambodians. They're gonna go for all of them kind. That's where it's gonna go. I promise you. It'll be straight Asians.
Is there enough
I'm still thinking
Asians over here for that? Would be the question.
We don't know what they doing inside these jails or these prisons. They teaching and training these prisoners. They teaching these prisoners a lot in jail.
They're just sitting around. I hope they learning something.
Now they
so when they run into that problem, they're gonna go to that situation. They're not gonna have all them people in prison. They just gonna lay up and not do none of it to solve the problem. They're gonna say, "Yep, you got to get out there and do that now."
You gonna have more problems trying to release motherfuckers from prison and expect them to work.
Well, not release. I said chain gangs.
I mean, you know what I mean. You got to think about. What
I said chain gangs.
I hear what you say.
Gonna be chain.
Nigga, this ain't the 1920s, nigga. You just seen 10 niggas break out of a hole, nigga, Louisiana, nigga, and get off on Bourbon Street, nigga. I'm just saying, like, it sound good, but you're not gonna be able to just release motherfuckers from prison.
They're not gonna use the heavyweights. They're gonna use those that's on probation. They're gonna use community service prisoners.
And I get
straight community service prisoners.
That job is not gonna get done like the Hispanics have been doing it their whole life.
Yeah, right.
I'm keeping it all the way real with y'all. A lot of people's in denial until the shit really hit the fan. I promise you this. If the Mexicans say we're gonna go 72 hours without doing shit, California gonna be the first state that's gonna be fucked in the game.
Well, I think that would be the strongest message. Instead of being out in the street protesting, if they say 72 hours, we ain't doing nothing.
We ain't gonna do shit.
I think that would be more effective than being out in the streets protesting.
It's gonna be the most effective.
So y'all think it's that many illegal?
At that point, you're gonna see the severity of the people and how long they've been here doing what they doing. And that's why. So when people are saying why are they rioting, that's why. I feel a lot of the protests is from people that disagree with the way that things are being handled, but then they're also looking at how much labor that they family to put in for this country to survive. So you got to think about that. Like I said earlier, it's cool when it benefits you, but then when you want to make a stance, you want to target us and not realize the benefit that the people actually bringing to this country, bro. This country.
So how do you fix it? Then where do you stop saying, hey, you can't come over to America no more like this? Because if you leave it open like that, then that means you can't turn nobody back. That means any country can just come.
And there has to
be no repercussion. Everybody can't live here.
There should be due process for anybody that comes into the country like it is in any other country. I'm gonna say that. But what I am also gonna say is, if a motherfucker already been here for 40 years and they ain't committed no goddamn crime, man, leave them motherfuckers
Thank
alone,
you.
man.
Well, that part, yeah,
bro.
That's my whole point.
I agree with that. They're going against what they said. Trump said he wanted to throw out the people with the criminal records and all that.
Yeah. So that's my thing.
And he attacking grandmamas right now.
That's how I feel about it. Because,
I agree with that.
Because at the end of the day, anybody who been here, if your parents brought you here in the 80s, and you an adult now in your 30s or your damn near no 40s, you didn't have no say so in getting brought over.
That's
here.
What I said.
You got brought over here.
A lot of them were brought over as kids.
So now your whole livelihood got to get torn apart behind it. I think there's a way to go about it. I think we should be going to document those workers that are help building this country. We should go document the people who are bringing more to the economy. We shouldn't be celebrating criminals and rapists and murderers and shit like that. But we shouldn't be accepting that from any goddamn culture. So it shouldn't just be okay. Well, we're taking out the trash. So since we're gonna target the Hispanics, we're gonna treat them all like they murderers and rapists, because that shit ain't cool. I think if you've been here, if you've been here, if you can show that you've been working for over 10 years straight, especially in a field that's a necessity, right? Like when COVID was going, they were determining what's an essential worker and what's a non-essential worker. Well, the motherfuckers is making sure that you got food on the goddamn table. That's essential. I don't give a fuck where you at. That's essential.
That's why it's gonna be hard, man, because you got a lot working under the table and they can't prove their income.
That
you know
is
what I
true.
mean?
That is true. But you can prove how long somebody been in the country. There's ways to go about that. Now, you may not be able to document all of their pay, things that might have been done under the table, and this and that, and the whole nine. And maybe it would have been a bigger stance to say, okay, if you're already here, you need to get you. We need to document you so that you can stay here. Instead of saying we're gonna either document you or we're gonna detain you, maybe it should have been, you get documented. If you're here, we're gonna document everybody's here. We ain't let nobody else in that wasn't already here after we made this rule or this law.
All right. I think the fair thing to do is ask this person here, Yesenia, if you can fix it, because I don't want to be the black guys over here speaking, because we're dealing with this shit. So, and we don't got no family member that's dealing with this. Yesenia, how would you, and if you could, just the perfect work, because we know everybody can't come. How would you fix this if you could? What do you think is the right way to do this?
I mean, like we said, like they were saying, riots are not the right thing because we see how it's going. I think showing people how it does affect, we are a big part here. There is proper way to do it. Like you could, if you're illegal here, you should try to go ahead and get your documents because you will have family, you will have kids. You do not want to go through this. You could at least get your work authorization card, and that shows that you've been documented, that you've been here. And after a certain amount of years, you should be able to go ahead and apply for your citizenship. You should be able to go through that process. And maybe they should work out a payment plan. Says it's so expensive to get it. They should go ahead and work with them. Okay, as long as you're paying for this shows that you're in the progress to try to get your citizenship. They should have those requirements, just like any other country. I think what they did, they made it too lenient for illegals to come down here as well. Not like other countries where they're very strict. And that has to do with the politicians as well. They made it so lenient, so easy for us to come here. Now you're throwing us back. It's not right.
That's part of the reason why. That's part of the reason.
I don't think it's so much about being lenient. You got to think about it. Mexico is the only place that can come here without being on a goddamn boat. Like literally, you can literally walk across the goddamn border. So I think that plays a big part in the numbers too as well. You know what I mean? Like any other immigrant that comes from any other country, they got to fly or they got to get on a boat.
Not Canada. You could go. Canada, they're very strict too.
We ain't never in my 46 years of living have I ever heard of a Canadian immigrant.
Maybe because you haven't heard them. They're more up there, not down here.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but have you ever heard of a Canadian immigrant?
No, I haven't.
Not once.
Not even Drake. Oh, my bad. They brought it out now with Tory Lanez now, but he had to get arrested though for them to bring that up.
Come on, man. You ain't never in your life heard them say that somebody from Canada was here illegally.
No.
Not once.
No.
So
not Justin Bieber, not Drake, none of that.
Not none of them. Not none of them. So
not Pamela Anderson.
so that just lets you know what the politics is on. And damn near everybody you just named, what do they all got in common?
They white.
Okay.
Except for Tory Lanez.
It was a celebrity they deported.
Drake just got
it was a celebrity from Canada they deported.
21 Savage.
No, it was a celebrity that they deported from Canada. It was a celebrity. It was a celebrity. The name fails me, but I was shocked when they sent them back. I gotta try to find. I'll try to find it. But I was shocked that they sent him back, and I said, "Wow, he's been over here this long. He's been over here this long."
It's
the name fails me.
As far as few that we're gonna sit back and be like, oh yeah, Canadians, they ain't never said nothing about no Canadian immigrant ever in life. I had never even heard them two words go together. So
but you can easily
I'm
go
trying to
over there
think of the guy.
without also getting citizenship. That's the thing. You can't be over there and be a citizen. You cannot go ahead and have a child over there or any other country and all of a sudden become a citizen. You just can't do that. They become so lenient with some of the rules here. What I don't believe that just because you have a child here, they become a U.S. citizen. Every other country.
But I disagree though, because if you was born here, you was born here. That's what make you a citizen when you born somewhere.
Sure.
So I mean, whether your parents came illegally or not, if you was born here, you was born here.
But other countries, they don't let you. That's the thing.
No,
they don't let you unless if your parents were citizens there already. Then you become a citizen. But if your parents were not citizen and you become a citizen, that's not going to go ahead and guarantee you to stay here, anyways.
No, not no more. It's not. It used to, but not.
It
no
never
more.
did.
Yeah,
it never did.
No. For a while, ain't that what it was? If you was born here, you was considered legal, right? Or if you got married to somebody here, then you was considered legal, right?
Yeah, but it takes also as a procedure. You had to go ahead and take years. So you had to be married, and then before you get your documents too, if you get married to someone here.
Okay. I just think that this whole shit is a sham. And I'm gonna just say this, and I know a lot of people probably gonna disagree with this, and I'm not no super historian or nothing that, so I ain't gonna act like I am. But we are literally having a debate about people being illegal in a country that was fucking stolen. Like I'm still ain't over that part of it. Like we're literally in 2025 talking about who's documented, who's not, and the people that are making the laws are people who came here illegally, they motherfucking self.
But nobody wants to conversate that deep.
Nobody wants
though, because I was going to hit on that.
That's what Indians then. That's it. Because look, we had a war. That's why we got the borders now. So United States won the war. That's where the border come from.
But how you
Spanish-American War. Then you said you got the Mexican war. This used to be Mexico. This and that. Look, it was Native Americans that had all of this. But you had the Spanish to evade. The Spanish is the one who invaded the Indians first. What do you think the Spanish and the Indian make a Mexican? It wasn't just a Mexican here first. It didn't happen like that.
No, I got you.
The Spaniard took over first. You know what I mean?
But listen to what you said though. We won the war and we took their shit. How you gonna go to war with somebody else about their
you fight? Hey, but
how
if you fought for it,
how you gonna go to war with somebody else about their shit?
Who you steal it from? You stole it from the Indian then.
But what I'm saying is, how you gonna go to war with? That's like somebody coming to your front door right now saying, "Nigga, I want war over your house."
No, that nigga whooped my ass and took my house. It's like when niggas take a nigga broad or something. Shit.
I want war for your shit, nigga.
It happens.
I like what you got, nigga. So I'm gonna come to your front door and tell you I want war for your shit.
But on some real, what I'm saying though, really on some real shit, when they say this was Mexico first and this and that, if we're gonna talk like that, then you got to even take it a step back even further. It wasn't Mexican first. It was Spaniards first.
It was Native Americans.
It was Native first, then Spaniards invaded.
Yeah.
That's how you even got a Mexican.
I got
same way the Spaniard and the African make goddamn Puerto Rican.
You're right.
Same shit.
You're right about that. So at that point, when the land was what it was, who was the one that came over and took over the land and started making the fucking rules for the land?
We all know that. White people.
Okay. So
hey, keep it political. The Caucasian man.
Okay, so but that's the point I'm trying to make. So at the end of the day, it's a bunch of stolen shit going on. That's like I steal the car, I get a car to you, nigga. You steal the car.
This is the only way to fix it. This is the only way to fix it. We got to cut the hate out. If you're not white, everybody just need to come together. That includes Asian people,
this whole
Mexican
shit is
people,
a sham, bro.
Black people, Cuban people, Haitian. It's the only way it's gonna be a fair fight. We can even the numbers. That's the only way. If we can't come together, bro, we all of us, we all gonna keep losing.
That's true.
It's gonna be a lot.
That's more of us.
It's gonna be a lot.
Until we all can put our shit to the side, just really come together, we gonna keep going through this shit.
That is true. That is true. I'm ready. I'm ready for a coup d'etat. So when y'all ready for that, wake me up.
That's it.
It,
We can
it ain't,
protest. We can do all that shit. Don't
it
worry.
ain't gonna happen.
It ain't gonna happen. So that's why we gonna keep going on this merry-go-round.
Yeah, that shit ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen because
They
motherfuckers don't
have
care.
us so strongly divided that we will never be able to succeed that.
Never.
And we letting
Now
them.
there's
We
strength in
letting
numbers.
them.
Yeah, we're letting them. But there's strength in numbers. Trust me. There's strength in
I think
numbers.
the way you guys
'Cause
think is all fucked up because I think that what we think becomes our reality. So if you think we're never going to come together, then of course we're not. If you think
I'm
negatively,
just saying,
of course we're
it's
not.
too far. It's too far.
Well, it's not negatively. It's just the way that, again, media is
too,
showing us how the politics wants us to be. They
But
want
does
us
it
to be
make sense?
divided.
Like we're talking about all this stuff and we know it, so we're just going to accept it.
It's not
No,
about
because we're
accepting
just
it.
waiting for that right
It
person
is
to
because
actually
we
do
make
it.
the
That's the
choice
thing.
every
Who's
day.
going to
We
do it?
decide to be
I think
let
the
this shit
people.
get to us, and we already know what they're doing. So that just makes zero sense to me. I'm ready to ride for whatever.
that's
So
gonna take the
whenever
right
y'all are
leader.
ready to
It's gonna. It's just gonna.
go in, I'm not.
It has
Say
to
the
take the
word.
right leader for this, for everybody to come together.
It's gonna take the right leader. We don't have.
Why can't
We
we
don't
all
have
be
a
leaders and
leader. It's
grab a
gonna
boom
take the
on the
right
horn? We
leader to
don't wait for
spark it.
everyone else.
But see this. Here's the thing, though.
It's gonna take the right leader to spark it.
Here's the thing, though.
You always
No,
have
it
to have a
doesn't. We're
leader to
all
bring
leaders.
about
You
change. To
can't
bring
Everybody
lead
needs
the
about.
their head out of their
masses.
One
ass.
moment. To
We
bring
don't
about.
need
No,
somebody
no.
to
What I'm
tell us.
saying.
We
To
just need
bring
to all
about.
be aware of
Listen.
what's going
To
on.
bring. To bring about proper change that's impactful. I'm not just talking about change. I'm talking about an impactful change. It takes an anointed leader. Has nothing to do with
It
religion.
doesn't.
It has something to do
It
with a
takes a
gift
group
to
of people
lead.
that are
But
all
It's a
leaders
lot
this
of
and
is the
people
decide
thing,
to
though.
make a
leading.
decision.
You're never gonna get.
It's a
You're
lot of
never
people.
gonna.
I'm
You're
almost done.
never.
It's a lot of people. I'm almost done. It's a lot of people leading that need to sit the fuck down. You
Yeah,
don't
but you
have
got.
proper leadership.
But
That's
you
why
got.
So
there's
are
no
you saying that
results.
you won't do shit unless somebody goes first?
I'm already doing shit. Speaking on it
What are
now
you
on the
doing?
podcast.
Wearing a
I'm
mask?
speaking on it now. I'm speaking on it now. It's the little foxes that destroy the vine. It's the little things that you do that makes a greater impact. It's the
But
little things
But
we
first.
so
what I'm saying
You
though is
everything
all of
start
us can
everything.
make a
The
decision right now. We can decide we can continue down this road, all of us individually, or we can decide, screw this, I don't want to be part of this, and I'm not going to keep going in circles, going through the same
I
thing.
never act
We
off
can't rely
impulse.
on
I've
somebody else
always
to lead the
calculate
way.
my move. No, you don't rely on nobody else. Am I relying on somebody else to come on the podcast? No.
But you're saying that you need a
I
leader.
saw I no, I said we. Understand me when I talk. Collective,
I understand
not
you.
individual, collective. We need a leader. You have to have leadership in order to get something done. If you don't have it, we're all
but you
out here
also.
fighting our
But you.
individual
But you
war.
also.
We're fighting by ourselves.
But you also gotta.
Everything that you try to win, that's family. The family, the only way you can win in the family, it has to be unity in the family. The only way you
Yeah.
can win on the football
This is
field, it
where.
has to be unity in the
This is.
team.
But
You
this.
can't
Okay,
win by
well, you can't
yourself.
win
There's
But
the
no
see,
war
hero.
against the
this
world
There's
is
no
where
if
the.
you can't
individual
win
hero.
the
This
war
is where the
against you in
problem.
your own mind.
This is
Period.
where.
So
This is
that's
where the.
just what it
This
is.
is where the problem
No, it's
lies,
not a
though.
war in my own mind. How?
Everybody
How's a
has
war in
that
my own
same
mind?
shit going on. Yes, everybody goes through experiences, whatever I experience now, maybe you haven't experienced it, but you will, and it's a
But it
cycle.
depends on how
Everything,
you
and
act
that's how
off
it
of
is.
it. But it depends on how you act off of it. How are you acting off of what's in your mind? That's what changes the game.
All I'm
That's
gonna
why you
say is
have a
this: I'm gonna
teacher.
You
let you.
can't.
That's
I'm
why
gonna
you
let
have a
you
teacher.
think that we need a leader, but at the end of the day, my
I know
opinion is
that for a fact.
we're all leaders, and we
That's
need to
why it's
grab the
called a.
bull by the horns on our own, and that's what I think. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
I
So,
know that for a fact.
but you're not gonna get. You're
Dr.
not.
King,
You're not.
Dr. King,
You're
Dr.
not. You're
King
not.
was a leader. Malcolm X was a leader. J.F. Kennedy was a leader. We had actual leaders.
But
You
you're not
have to
gonna get. You're
establish
not gonna.
We
leadership.
don't
Then
need
you
a
can
You're
move
person
not
to
forward.
gonna
lead
get. You're
us,
not gonna get.
but
You're
I'll
not
let
gonna
you
get.
win
You're
this
not gonna
one
get a
because I
foundation.
don't even want to get a headache.
You're not
So
gonna get a foundation with leadership if the parties involved don't buy in. And we live in a world where everybody is
People
so
are ready
focused.
to buy in.
No, but see, this the thing, though, bro. You got to understand this, though. There's too many different opinions on so many different facets of the shit that's going on in the country right now, bro. We ain't gonna never be united. And I'm not being negative. I'm just being honest. Too many people have been affected differently for everybody to say, you know what? Let's all get on the same page. It's too many
You
different
know why?
inputs. It's too many different impacts. It's too many different things that have taken place.
Because we're focusing on several different things. We need to focus on one thing.
People are focusing on the things that are affecting them the most. And at the end of
Person,
the day,
they have.
at the end of the day, what affects me might not affect you. What affects you might not affect us, the young lady over here. Like, we all got different shit going on to where this might be important to you, but this might not be. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you a question. If you let's use domestic battery as a scenario. If you go through experience, let's say you're in a domestic battery situation and you get out of that situation, and I remind you every day of that abuse that you experienced, can you heal that way? If I'm constantly reminding
Who
you
is
of
this
the trauma
question
that you went
towards?
through? No, right? So again,
Who is this?
I understand what
Who
you're
is this
saying, but
question
I
towards?
personally feel like when we keep bringing up these topics that we have never personally directly experienced because our ancestors and vice versa experienced this shit, I think it gaslights people and it
No, I've
triggers an
experienced
emotional
it.
response.
I've
And I
experienced
think
it.
all of this and this experience right now, all of this shit is intentional. If you guys think it's not intentional, it's the same playbook over and over. They never change it.
I've experienced it.
It definitely is intentional. I think
I've
It's
experienced it.
intentional. It's
a
to
whole
distract
agenda.
us and get us so overwhelmed so we can't focus on shit that we need to focus on to resolve these problems. Everybody thinks we can't do it. I believe we can do it.
The same way that we all on this podcast right now, you got 6 different opinions, 6 different mindsets. There might be some stuff we agree on. There might be some stuff we disagree on.
Of course.
So those differences might be the reason that some person goes one way, some person goes the other way. You see it happens with the voting shit. When motherfuckers vote,
No, but we all agree. But we all agree.
Experience the same shit.
We all
You've
agree that it
experienced
could be
your dad
done
will,
better.
I have, all of us. So it doesn't change.
We all agree.
We've all experienced it.
But whatever way whatever way you're leaning towards though is the way that your opinion is gonna be based accordingly. So if you come from something different than what somebody else comes from, your take on it might be totally different from what this person's take on it is. So,
and I understand that. But I do feel like we all make a difference. One person can make an impact, and I feel like it's up to us individually. You know, again, it's the same thing as whether we're happy. We have a responsibility to ourselves to be happy. We have to take our life traumas and build a happy life for ourselves. You can make a person smile, you could make a person laugh, but at the end of the day, whether a person is happy is fully and wholly and up to them. It's their responsibility. So the same way in that scenario, we need to take accountability and responsibility for our lives individually and say, fuck this. I don't want to keep going in circles. And this is not the first rodeo. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, whether it's you experiencing it now or me experiencing it yesterday, we are on one team. We come from one source, and we got to it's us against them. It's not us against each other. And that's what it is. So we can't wait for somebody to come save us. We can't keep waiting for somebody to
No,
grab us
nobody
by the
said
horns
wait.
and
No,
go.
nobody
We have
said.
to do it on our own.
Why do you have an
difference.
issue? Why do you have an issue when I bring up leadership? That's me saying we need to wait on the
I
leader.
don't have an issue with it.
So are you waiting on the president? Did you vote? Did you vote? Did you vote?
It doesn't matter if I voted. We're not talking
No,
about
I asked you.
voting.
It's just a simple
saying that
yes
I
or
have a
no.
problem with it, and I just
See,
disagree with it.
I'm about to trap you. Did you vote? I didn't say who
It
you
doesn't
voted for,
matter
but
if I
did you
vote. What
vote?
the fuck does voting have to do with this?
That
You're
you
missing
don't
the
want to
point.
answer the question because you know what I'm about to get you with. Why
Because I
did
don't
you
need to
vote?
answer because it's not your business.
Okay,
We're
so
not
let me ask
talking
you a
about
question.
voting. We're talking about leadership.
So why did you vote?
You need
So
a leader to
why did you
lead
vote?
action. I do not, and that's just what it is.
President. Why did you
Who gives
vote
a
for the
shit? We're not
president?
talking about that's.
Why
It
did
doesn't
you
matter
vote
whether
for
I
the?
voted or
Why
not.
did you need to vote? Why did you need to vote? Why did you feel like you needed to
What
vote?
if I didn't vote?
I know you did. I guarantee
What if
you
I
did.
didn't vote? Like, I'm keeping
So
it a
you
vote. What
proved
if I
my
didn't
point.
vote because I'm
Why
not
do
stupid
you need a
enough to keep going in
president?
circles and going
Why
over the
do you
same
need a
thing?
president? Why do you need a
We don't need
president?
a president.
Answer my question.
We don't need
You
a
voted,
president.
right?
Let me
I
put you
didn't
a fun
vote.
game. If you really want to get into this, let's go. You
I
need to
did not
understand.
vote.
Hold on. If you want to have this talk, we're going to have this talk. You need to understand the difference between America versus the United States of America. You got the several states, and then you got the corporation. When you all vote, you're voting for a president of that corporation, and that's the bottom line. So whether you want to argue that or not, again, like y'all said,
So
we shouldn't
why
be
did
talking
you
about this
need?
if we don't have the education.
Why did
So
you?
if you want to go, we could go.
Why
But
do
I
we need a
refuse.
president?
We don't need a
Why do
president.
why do we need a president?
not need a
I'm asking you the question. Why do we need a president?
We don't need a president.
Why do we need a president?
We vote for leadership is what
Can you answer it?
We vote for leadership.
Exactly. She doesn't want to answer it.
Because we don't need one.
So that's my
'Cause we're not a
same take on
corporation.
leadership. I don't just ramble off. You voted for a president because you need a president. We, the people, need a president. It establishes it and gets rid of chaos. A leader gets rid of chaos. That's why you need a leader. It's not that you're waiting around for one, but you need one.
Hold on. The problem is we have this reality world that's operating right now. That's us right here. And we have literally, when we say the Matrix, it's not some fucking 3D little spiritual place. The reality is the Matrix is the false facade, the illusion that y'all think, like what you just said, you think you have to do all these things. Who the fuck said we have to? We don't, just because they told you have to, doesn't mean that's the case. If you read
Do
the
what
law,
things? Do what things?
all the shit. We don't have to.
No,
have a
you have to
president.
name
It's
those
like we
things.
don't have to register our car. We don't have to do what we're
Do
told.
you know who Harriet Tubman was?
I don't give a shit.
Do you know who Rosa Parks?
The law's the law.
Do you know who Rosa Parks was?
Of course I do.
Do you know?
But you're missing the point.
They were leaders. They were leaders. They were leaders.
I don't.
They got rid of the
chaos.
chaos.
The point, dude.
Because you're against me talking about leadership.
I'm not against you talking about anything. I just disagree with you, and you want to throw down.
What a coach is?
I'm not going to do it.
Do you know what a coach is?
I don't give a shit what a coach is. I don't give a shit what your
Why
thoughts
does
are.
a team need a coach?
I don't care about none of that. The bottom line is the facts are the facts. We don't have to do all the shit.
Deion Sanders didn't need a coach. He already had the skills to hit the field, but he needed a coach to establish a team. We need leadership to establish a movement. Just like you voted, why did you need a president?
Why can't you be a leader?
You think I'll just be running my mouth. You know I'm smarter than what you thought I was.
I'm serious. I'm asking you a serious question.
What did you say?
Why can't you be a leader?
I am a leader.
So then why? Okay, so you're saying like you cannot, you're not willing to say, okay,
I am a leader.
All of us take responsibility.
Not individual.
You're saying we can't do that. We have to wait for somebody to lead us. Says who?
No, I'm talking about. I'm talking about collective.
Yeah, he said
I'm talking about collective. I don't have a voice at that level. I need to gain my voice at that high pedestal. I can't just go out here and tell these people and move like it takes the level situation to be able to ascertain the intentions of the people.
For ourselves and say
that's individually. I'm talking about collective. So if I tell you right now,
take responsibility individually, and we have the same goal,
and it's going to stay individual. It's going to stay individual if you don't transfer that into a collective. And it takes a leader to bring a collective people together, just like the Bloods and Crips, just like Huey Newton. You familiar with Huey Newton?
How do you know if you don't?
Why do you think they haven't released them? Why do you think they haven't released them yet?
How do you know if you
because
don't try?
He has because the power he has. The power he has.
Okay. I'm just gonna let you win this one, but again, if we don't try,
I won already.
We gotta take the chance at the end of the day.
I won already.
Okay.
Thank you for staying on, though. I'm glad you didn't get too emotional.
That's fine. I don't care. The bottom line is, if we don't take a chance and try it, how the fuck will we know? We won't know. So we can sit here and ponder all day.
With great leadership, we can do that. With great leadership, we can do that. Somebody has to have the plan. We just can't go out there and do the things off of impulse.
But how do you know that?
Leadership comes with plans. With leadership comes with a plan.
But what I'm saying is, has anybody ever tried it? Like, realistically?
Yes, I'm pretty sure they have, and it hasn't worked because nobody has a plan.
I haven't seen anybody try it.
It hasn't. They got ran out of Dodge. They got ran out of. How do you know I'm not working on trying it?
Well, who got ran out of Dodge?
Nobody's against trying.
Nobody try it.
No, nobody's against trying, but when you have a collective, trying turns into being individual into a movement. When you try, you're by yourself.
It's the same thing, just like
when you try, you're by yourself.
Group that get there, and then everybody follows suit, and that's how it is. So what I'm saying is, individually, instead of us, because all I hear is everybody blaming everybody. Whose fault is it? I don't see anybody coming up with no solution to fix this problem. Okay.
With
I
a
don't see
leader
anybody
comes
We're
who's willing
starting
to
on the
take a chance
panel
to
right
try.
here.
with a leader comes with a plan. That's
This
all.
is we're working on it. We're establishing it here tonight. You think we're just
What
on this podcast wasting our time?
I don't think we're
What
wasting
are we
time.
talking
I
about
think
tonight?
what I'm
This
saying
is
is,
part.
what is the solution? What is the solution? Where's the solution? If we keep talking about it, that's fine. We need to talk about
It's
it.
starting
And we can have
now.
an
The
open
art of
dialogue. But at the
dialogue.
end of the day, what is the solution? An alternative solution to resolve these problems that's going to be beneficial for
Know.
parties on both sides
I
of
have a
the fence.
solution. I have a solution. I have a solution.
Okay.
Unification.
Okay.
Unification.
Yes.
So if I tell you right now, meet me at the courthouse tomorrow with picket fence, are you going to pull up? Are you going to come?
Yes. If you were, yes, I
You're
would
not.
support the cause.
You're not.
I
You're not.
would.
But I guarantee you, if the governor called you right now, the governor of Vegas called you right now, I bet you would show up. So
I
why
bet
would
you
you
I
show up for
wouldn't.
him but not
I
for
bet
me?
you that's the last motherfucker I'll show up for. I would not.
Whoever you voted for, they would get you to show up.
I won't show up for his ass either. Straight up. You know what I'm
So
saying? Because
so
at the end
why
of the
did you
day,
vote?
again, it's us against the politicians. They're all on the same shit. We are not on the same shit. We're the ones that are the productive members of society. We are the only ones that take the fucking L's. And we keep going in circles, allowing this shit, and nobody is willing to say, fuck it. We never tried this. Let's take a chance. That's all I'm saying. I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
That I get what you're saying as far as leadership.
Lack of
At the same
leadership.
time,
Every
we can sit there and
generation.
wait. We're gonna wait for a long time.
Every
if we wait for something
generation.
like that.
Every generation needed a leader to get the job done. It's not saying you're
But
waiting on
nobody's
a
ever
leader.
tried.
Do what you can. Do what you can on an individual level. However, to do it on a
Yes.
greater level that needs to be done, you have to make sure you have a proper person that can go ahead of you and speak for the cause. You can't speak for the cause because you're too emotional. So you definitely
I
couldn't be
think
no
that we
leader.
can all speak for the cause. And I think you're too fucking
You
emotional because you're
couldn't.
the one that gets in your
I
feelings
would
and
not
starts
want you to
arguing
go
and shit with
speaking for
people.
me.
So don't say I'm in my
I would.
feelings. I just got a fucking headache.
I would
I'm not in
not.
my
I would
feelings.
not want
So
you.
that's the
I would
reality.
not
I
want
just want
you.
to keep it above.
Hey y'all, hey look,
I would not
look.
want you to go before the people
And I
Y'all,
and
sure
speak
as
for
fuck
me.
wouldn't want you to go before the people with that ugly ass mask on. So let's really
y'all,
talk about it.
y'all,
Y'all turn to
blew the whole
WWE, man.
Hey, look.
I don't even know what we're talking about right now.
And now we're divided.
That's why we divided right there.
They took it to some whole other shit. Hey, no, but no,
Hey,
real
shout out to the ladies on the panel.
real
Shout out
talk.
to them hanging in
Hey,
there.
at the end of the day, I think we all have an opinion on what's taking place right now. I think it just comes from different perspectives. Obviously, you know, it depends what your attachment involvement is to it. Also, it has a lot to do with your upbringing as well. I think that we all can agree that if this is what needs to take place, it needs to take place at a different caliber. I don't think the morale part of it is. I don't think any of us agree with that. And we may all have different stances on, you know, how we feel about it as a whole. But I think at the end of the day, the number one thing to understand is these are people's lives at the end of the day. And somebody is being affected.
That's all I was saying.
People is going to be affected by this in a great way, in a great deal. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in our own personal lives that, well, it's either like, if this shit ain't got nothing to do with me, that's on them type mentality. I think there's a lot of that going on. And then I also think there's a lot of people that are invested from a political standpoint that bring out their emotions on how they feel about a lot of it too. So I just think that's just the biggest part to understand, that when if it's directly affecting you, of course you're gonna feel a different type of way as opposed to somebody who's invested into it as a whole. So that's just my part on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got Ashley, man. She just came on. How you doing, Ashley?
I'm okay, y'all. How's everybody?
Good.
All right.
Hey,
Listening to
We
y'all
good,
in a little
baby.
bit
What's
of a
going
heated
on?
discussion here.
Hey, she just heard y'all two going at it. She said, "Oh, I gotta get on this thing."
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Hey, so I know I don't want to keep you long, but I know you kind of caught the tail end of it, and the topic is about the protest and what's going on you know, across
Right.
the country. Everything that you've seen so far, what's your views on things, and do you think it's right or wrong, and also what would be your solution to kind of
I
fix that?
mean, I think there's a lot of right and wrong on both ends of all of it.
Yeah.
All of it, all the way together. If we're speaking about leadership, I mean, I agree that we do need leadership. It's proven time and time again over societies. If there is not leadership, societies crumble.
Mhm.
That's just the way that's just the way that the psychology of human nature works.
Mhm.
As far as immigration, I feel like so they say Mexican American. I've referred to myself for years now as an American Mexican. I'm second generation. So, but my grandparents and their parents did it the right way, coming over, paperwork, visas, working. I think America gives you the right to have your free ride and do whatever you want to do as long as you do it right. Um, I think there's so much danger that comes with what was allowed to happen over the last few years with the influctuation of just people coming and coming and coming. No way to keep track of any of these people, no way to know what they're doing, how they're doing it, where they're moving. It's just dangerous. Like, why do our children have to deal with that? You know, why couldn't it just, I feel like the process wanted to be simplified and people emotionally took that the wrong way or didn't read into the details of how it wanted to be restructured. Um, and so I didn't see the purpose in just allowing, you know, other than the fact of it being creating chaos.
Yeah.
And so now people are angry because they're being sent back. Well, they wouldn't be going through what they were going through if they weren't allowed to come in the first place. And if the president who allowed that to happen had to set some infrastructure and some laws for them with allowing them to do that,
Mhm.
we wouldn't be sitting in where we're sitting in either, now emotionally driven again by what the powers that be want us to be, which is mad at each other, angry at each other, hating each other, distracted by what is actually going on. So
Mhm.
that's my small take on what you guys are talking about.
I appreciate that, American
Thank you.
Mexican.
I like that twist. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
It's good. America is the land of milk and honey, and that's people's idea when they try to come over here.
I mean, it's for
That's
everybody.
that's
It's
their
here for everybody.
that,
Anybody's here to
and when
get
they
whatever
come
they're
over
pleased,
here,
you know?
and when they come over here, they're disappointed. They're highly disappointed, and I hate that the America I know has failed at that because I thought we supposed to be the hierarchy of love, protection, justice for all, and figure out the problems as we go along.
Well,
America has become
America,
a bully. They're no
well,
longer trying to figure out the problem. They're just crush, 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 crush. And they did it with Gaddafi. They went over there and killed him. They did it with like America's always it's a bully now. They're no longer
so
the justice league. They're no longer the Justice League, if I want to
So
paraphrase it like that.
America, in my opinion,
We
throughout
rob
history,
and we steal.
and America's
We
always
rob and
been a
steal
bully.
from everybody.
Hey,
America's
tell
always been a
We've
bully.
always robbed.
before you say your opinion, Ashley,
We,
I just want to give y'all some good news real quick. Everybody, look at the bottom of the screen. Y'all name showed up. Yeah,
Oh,
man,
we're
looks
having
like
some
you're
technical
working, man.
difficulties.
Yeah, man, that's that good engineering.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
but I
America's
just wish
always
that
been a
was.
bully.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. Just America's always been a bully. It's kind of what we stand on, and America has always failed at justice for all.
Always,
Always.
always. When
I
they
don't think any society is ever going to get it right. I don't think any country is ever going to get it right, but no other country also has half of the issues that we have because of the fact that America in itself was an experiment and is an experiment.
I agree with that.
And so, you know, and we're
See, I feel
ongoing.
like you know shit
We're
that
living
people don't
in
really know
right
what's going
now, like
on
the
here.
heart
She's laced up.
of the experiment.
Yes.
So, you know,
Yep.
and you're absolutely right. I'm sorry. What is your, God, it's so small on the screen. Steph?
Yes.
I mean, you're absolutely right with what you're saying. You know, there are things we don't have to do, but we're so
Yeah.
accustomed to doing it that we think that that is what we have. You know, society, most of society doesn't realize you don't have to do that, like
We have
register your car,
choices.
pay your
Yeah.
taxes. But we're so programmed to believe that that's what we're supposed to be doing that it's hard for those of us who try to go that angle to
Yeah.
actually get it right or to get people on the process with us, because they also make that very difficult
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
So, but you know, and that as divided as they want us, like I was messaging Freddie before this, tell him, you know, they want us to hate each other. They want it. That's just how they want it. You know, without
But
that, they don't
also
have
the
the
hate,
control.
And they want you
but
to take that green
also,
mask off too. Shit.
Say it again,
but
Freddie.
to hate someone, and this is just my personal assessment as a kid growing up, because I was the black sheep of the family, and when I say to the fullest, I was the black sheep to the I was the poster child of being the
Mhm.
black sheep, right? In order to hate somebody, it has to be in you to hate that person.
Well, hate
It
is
has to
taught.
be in you.
Hate is taught.
It has
It's
to,
not
but it
something
has
that
to
you're
exist.
just.
Wait,
Hey,
address
Right.
the question.
But
You
it
got me
has
the
to
green mask.
exist
Who
in
are
you
you and
because
who are you really?
I mean, hate is
because you
taught
know how many
from a very
times
young
you know how
age.
many how many times I was racially profiled and abused by a Caucasian men and
Yeah.
women. You know, I had a bully in school, and he was a white kid. He was a white kid. In Texas, I can tell you stories of how the sheriff's office and the cops will pull me over
What does that have to
constantly,
do with
and
this though?
I'm just riding my bike into town to go get a jug of milk for the house. And I'm being pulled over and they harassing me. But I still love every white person that I meet. So in order to hate somebody, it has to be in you to do that. You don't just hate somebody because they don't agree with you. You don't just hate somebody because they're not going in the direction you want to go. It
Well,
has to be something in you to hate somebody.
Well,
well,
It
that's what I'm
has to.
saying is that it's taught from hate and you know, racism and different things of that nature are taught at a very, very young age. Um, and it's also has to do with how you were brought up, where you were raised, how you're treated, you know, things that happen to people that change their perception on society or human beings as a whole. Um, and so
Well,
it takes a lot of acceptance and love to change somebody's
and
mind
wisdom.
when things like this happen.
Yeah, and wisdom too, because I was taught that the white man was the blue-eyed devil. But I never walked out of my house saying every white guy I see, he's the devil. Every white guy I see, he's the devil. I never felt like I judged them by their actions, individually by their actions. So it just takes wisdom and understanding with every situation and encounter that you deal with in life.
Right. Correct.
You don't just treat people wrong because you was taught to treat them wrong. You don't just target a certain race of people because you was taught to target it, because Caucasian people will use that against black people. They'll
Right.
say, well, my mom and dad taught me to hate this black person. My mom and dad taught me to not date a black person. So I hate to give that an excuse for people that want to use that and say, well, I was taught this. No, yes, you was taught that, but it was something in you that allowed you to accept those teachings.
Correct.
my,
And you
Just,
can always
just
rewire
I
your
mean,
thinking or rewire your teachings.
yeah.
through wisdom,
I didn't
yes,
know where the
through
topic
wisdom.
went to. I know y'all was talking about Mexicans and immigrants and legalized and all that stuff. Where do we get to this part right now? How did that turn left?
Where did we get
Like,
to
what
the
we
part?
was talking
Actually,
about?
I think
We was bringing up unity. We was bringing up unity, and there was separation, and there was a lot of separation through hate.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
That's how we got to that.
Oh,
well
Because
okay.
the other
there's a
portion of this
disengagement.
the other portion of this too is if we're, let's just say, engaging in normal everyday life and activity, okay? Like Freddie, I see you kick it with all kinds of different races, colors, creeds. Doesn't matter where we come from, you know. Same with me. Um, so our social circle isn't like that. Then you have the dynamic of the world where this is being pushed out of universities. So this is a whole nother portion of the matrix, which Steph was speaking of, that is a part of the upper powers that be that want to create, if they don't have control of some of these young minds, that this is where a lot of this is getting pushed and bred from. And a lot of them get so deeply enrooted and indoctrinated into these teachings, into this thought process. Because if you look at what's happening in the riots in the streets and different things, a lot of this, it is young, white, Caucasian society, the younger generation that's out there. And you ask them, and I've done this, ask them, where do you go to school? Where do you go to university? You know, and they tell me, and I've looked into all this, what the teachings are and these things. And this is what's being pushed right now, because if they don't have that control of the younger minds, then they're honestly screwed. Because a lot of us from Generation X and lower, you know, or beyond, or however forward or backwards, I would say, not forwards, excuse me, we're not with this. The mentality is different, you know, the way we were raised is different. So
yeah,
that's
that is true.
my process.
We're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. It looks like we've been on here for almost 2 hours tonight.
I love it though. Shout out to the ladies that suffered me. It's just we're just conversating. So you know, but I appreciate you. Huh?
We all suffered, man. Why you just gonna shout out the lady?
Hey,
Makes out for good entertainment. That's all right.
Hey, you know, when we come together to discuss it, a lot of the conversations it's not gonna be pleasing to the ears and to the emotions. But long as we have the understanding that we all have a right to our opinion, and this is strictly my opinion. I don't wish to get on here and offend anyone. This is strictly my opinion. That's all.
It's all good. I know, Stephanie. I mean, Yesenia, I know you told me you only had an hour to give me, and I thank you for sticking it out for a whole extra hour, because I know you tired. And she told me from the get only 1 hour. But all y'all that came on,
I'm here until you mute my mic.
Oh, Jesus Christ, man! Hey, thank y'all for coming on again, man. We'll do it again shortly. I'm gonna come up with another topic. But if you guys have a topic you want to talk about, just inbox me or email me and let me know, and we can get at that too. So I do want to try to get back on at least tomorrow and Wednesday if you guys are available. But yeah, let me know of a topic and we can touch that.
Freddie, it was great to finally join you on one.
So
yeah, we'll do. Hey, again, y'all appreciate y'all, man.
Hey guys, before you log off, I just like to thank Freddie Benz for using his platform to do something positive. So it goes back to what we said earlier. What are we doing? This is part of it. So I appreciate you using your platform, brother, for that.
All good, man. All good.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For sure. Let's do it again.
Bye.
Bye.
The Brady Bunch.
I don't even know how to log off. How do we do this? Let's see. Oh, there it is.
We're on the Brady Bunch.